Chapter 679. Xiao Chen's gaze sank. He had not expected someone to be so bold. Even after seeing his strength, he still dared to challenge him. This fellow is really seeking death. I can only reveal the Taiji Yin-Yang flame diagram. Rage filled Xiao Chen's heart. A light flickered in his eyes. Just as he was about to make a move, a blazing morning sun suddenly flew down from the city walls. Xiao Chen glanced at it and smiled to himself. He knew that he would not have to expose that trump card. A rainbow bridge of 7 colors appeared above the city walls. A pretty figure turned into the morning sun on the rainbow bridge and descended gracefully. This person helped Xiao Chen receive Gui Wu's strike. The light exploded, and boundless clouds scattered. Shock flashed in Gui Wu's eyes. He wanted to dissipate the other party's energy. However, the power of the morning sun seemed boundless, surging over endlessly. Bang! Finally, Gui Wu's protective quintessence shattered. The morning sun struck him, and he was tossed high into the air like a sandbag. Then, he looked coldly at the person who attacked. Gui Wu spun around in the air, preparing to flee into the city. However, another azure-colored staff appeared out of nowhere and struck his abdomen. Immediately, he spat out a mouthful of bitter water. The wooden stick spun in a circle and struck him heavily, directly smashing him to the ground. Even his internal organs were shattered. When Gui Wu saw the person holding the staff, he exclaimed in shock, "It's you." The person holding the staff was the Sky Dome Realm's Gong Yangyu, whom Gui Wu had humiliated in the past. Gong Yangyu and Yu Chenxi had originally come to watch the show. When they discovered that Xiao Chen was in trouble, they did not hesitate to help. Gong Yangyu looked coldly at Gui Wu and ignored him. Then, he followed Yu Chenxi and arrived before Xiao Chen. "Are you alright?" Yu Chenxi asked out of concern as he landed beside Xiao Chen after sending Gui Wu flying. Xiao Chen shook his head and glanced at the jade pendant at Yu Chenxi's waist. He said, "I'm fine. I just exhausted too much energy. I will be fine after some rest. By the way, congratulations on advancing to inner sect disciple." At this moment, Gong Yangyu landed as well. He smiled gently and said, "Yu Chenxi and I advanced at the same time this month. We are the best in the outer sect and did not embarrass the Sky Dome realm." Yu Chenxi could tell that Xiao Chen was rather weak. He smiled gently and said, "Let's not talk about this for now. Let's enter the city first before we chat." Situ Gang's friends from the battle realms were originally prepared to charge over and beat Xiao Chen up. However, when they saw Yu Chenxi and Gong Yangyu beside Xiao Chen, they were stunned. However, when they saw Yu Chenxi and saw Gong Yu, they knew that they had no chance. The three of them headed to the mission hall, chatting along the way. They talked about their experiences and were very agreeable. Chen worked hard. As he said, you as he. You was not. As he said, he, Chen, you, Chen, he. In the first place, Yu Chenxi's talent was not inferior to anyone else's. However, she lacked experience. After a while, she stood out. In this month's outer sect exam, she took the top spot and entered the inner sect. As for Gong Yangyu, after being humiliated by Gui Wu, he became even stricter with himself. After putting in a lot of hard work, he followed closely behind Yu Chenxi and entered the inner sect. The two of them had made great improvements. However, compared to Xiao Chen, they paled in comparison. However, the three of them were all cultivators of the Sky Dome realm. They did not have much desire to compete with each other. The strength that Xiao Chen displayed made the two feel happy. "We've arrived. The mission hall is in front. I'll go and see if I can get the first rank this time." Xiao Chen strode into the mission hall with some anticipation. Back then, Xiao Chen had completed 10-odd missions and even received a 3,000 contribution point mission. This had caused a huge commotion. Several people were betting on whether Xiao Chen could return alive or not. This fellow really returned. I wonder if he completed the mission or not. He should have completed most of it. If he also completed the 3,000-point mission, he might have a chance to get the first rank. Wouldn't that mean that he would push Yunfei down? That is a big matter. You must be joking. I don't believe that he completed the 3,000-point mission. He will definitely fail. The discussions in the mission hall rang out. Xiao Chen ignored them. He walked directly to the black-robed administrator and performed a cupped fist salute. Senior, has Yunfei returned yet? The black-robed administrator had noticed Xiao Chen long ago. A gratified look flashed in his eyes as he said, Yunfei returned a little early this month due to some matters. His contribution points are. Xiao Chen waved his hand and smiled. Senior, there's no need to say any more. I'm still looking forward to it. Go and see for yourself. Filled with anticipation, Xiao Chen arrived before the contribution ranking. He looked up and immediately saw the person ranked first. Unsurprisingly, it was still Yunfei. Xiao Chen looked to the left and saw Yunfei's contribution points. 21,000 contribution points. Xiao Chen rejoiced in his heart. He revealed a smile on his face. He had completed 10 2,000-point missions and one 3,000-point mission. Xiao Chen's total contribution points would be 23,000, 2,000 more than Yunfei's. If nothing unexpected happened, he would rank first on the contribution ranking this month. After thinking for a while, Xiao Chen calmed down. He felt that this was too easy. Yunfei occupied the first rank for a long time. If Xiao Chen could receive a 3,000-point mission, Yunfei would definitely receive one as well. Furthermore, Yunfei would receive more than Xiao Chen. Logically speaking, Xiao Chen should not be able to surpass the black-robed administrator in terms of contribution points this month. To Xiao Chen, this was just a goal. He did not have high hopes for success this time. Based on his original expectations, he would probably spend 2 to 3 months doing so. There must be a reason for this. However, it does not matter. As long as I can obtain medial-grade spirit-gathering pearls, it will be fine. Xiao Chen shook his head and stopped thinking. Then, he returned to the black-robed administrator and handed over the mission list and proof of completion. The black-robed administrator brought the proof of completion with the group of elders in the mission hall. After they verified that there were no mistakes, they started to arrange for Xiao Chen's rewards. This process took a lot of time. After Xiao Chen waited for a while, he received the rewards from the black-robed administrator. There was a total of 1,500,000 superior-grade spirit stones and contribution points. Congratulations! This time, something unexpected happened to Yunfei. With your contribution points, you will definitely rank first. The black-robed administrator smiled gently, a gratified expression in his eyes. He had not misjudged Xiao Chen. The other disciples in the hall had already perked up their ears. When they heard this, they were all shocked. Yunfei, who occupied the first rank of the contribution ranking for many years, was actually pushed down by Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen carefully put away the spirit stones and asked out of curiosity, what happened to Yunfei? The black-robed administrator replied, he accepted a total of 9 missions worth 3,000 contribution points. In the end, he only completed 8 and gave up on the last one. One of the punishments for giving up on a mission was to deduct 3,000 contribution points. Otherwise, he would still be the first rank. Indeed, it was as Xiao Chen expected. He continued to ask, why did he give up on a mission for no reason? Given his experience, he should not have made the mistake of not having enough time. The punishment for giving up on a mission was very severe in the sect. Normally, no one would give up on a mission for no reason. Either they did not accept the mission because they were not confident or they would definitely complete it after accepting it. I'm not sure. I only know that a true inheritor summoned him. They probably promised him benefits that were large enough to make him give up on the sect mission. Interesting. I really want to know what benefits those true inheritors promised to make him willing to accept the punishment for giving up on a mission. However, Xiao Chen was not a gossipy person. Although he was curious, he could not be bothered to investigate this matter. After thanking the black-robed administrator again, Xiao Chen invited Yu Chenxi and Gong Yangyu to his courtyard as guests. When Yu Chenxi and Gong Yangyu saw Xiao Chen's courtyard, they sighed. Their eyes filled with envy. "Senior brother Xiao, how many spirit stones does this courtyard cost per month?" Gong Yangyu asked as he looked around the courtyard. When he saw the cultivation room with its own spirit vein, he could not help but ask. After getting the answer, Gong Yangyu and Yu Chenxi could not help smiling bitterly. They said, 200,000 spirit stones per month. It looks like we can only wait. Xiao Chen thought for a while before taking out 1 million superior-grade spirit stones each from his universe ring. Then, he handed them to the two and said, "I'm lending you 1 million spirit stones for now. You can return them to me in the future." Xiao Chen took out 2 million superior-grade spirit stones in one go. Gong Yangyu and Yu Chenxi were somewhat shocked. They did not dare to accept it. It was not that they were pretentious. It was just that this sum was too large. After being in the Kunlun realm for so long, they were very clear on the value of superior-grade spirit stones. If they had to collect 1 million superior-grade spirit stones by themselves, they would need at least 3 months. However, given Xiao Chen's character, how could he ask them to return the money? This gift was simply too heavy. "Senior brother Xiao, you should keep these spirit stones for yourself. This is too much. We cannot accept it." The two rejected at the same time. They did not want Xiao Chen to delay his cultivation for them. Xiao Chen said softly, "Just take it. After some time, you will feel that this 1 million superior-grade spirit stones is not worth much. Right now, the Tianwu domain looks calm, without any waves. However, I guess that there are already undercurrents. The geniuses from the lower realms are all resting and accumulating strength, preparing to challenge the experts who have been famous for a long time. There are also many young geniuses of the Tianwu domain. They are all preparing to shine at some point, becoming famous in one fell swoop. When advancing from half-sage to martial sage, there is a relatively large threshold. This gives the latecomers time to catch up. If I am not wrong, in 1 year at most, the entire Tianwu domain's younger generation will be rewritten. Time waits for no man. We need to make full use of every second. If we are late, a large group of people will surpass us. If we want to rise to the top, we cannot lack the necessary resources." After hearing Xiao Chen's words, Gong Yangyu and Yu Chenxi were somewhat astonished at Xiao Chen's lofty sentiments. While the others were still focused on the various struggles of the Haotian sect, Xiao Chen had already set his sights on the entire Tianwu domain. Not to mention Xiao Chen's cultivation, just the breadth of his horizon surpassed that of many people in the Supreme Sky sect. Gue Wu and the others were simply not on the same level as him. After some persuasion, the two no longer refused and accepted the spirit stones that Xiao Chen handed over. Chapter 680. When Xiao Chen saw this, he smiled faintly and started to make tea for the two of them. In the pavilion in the courtyard, the three of them looked at the beautiful scenery of the lake in front of them, sipping tea and chatting. They were relaxed and contented. Only after sunset did they bid each other farewell. The vast Kunlun realm was rife with people trying to deceive each other, fighting each other for resources. Hidden dangers lurked everywhere. Someone could make a move at any time. Xiao Chen truly did not hope that these two good friends of his from the Sky Dome realm would fall on the arduous path of cultivation. If he could help, he would do so. There were still about 10 more days before he could collect his monthly stipend. Xiao Chen took advantage of this opportunity to solidify his cultivation as a peak late-stage inferior-grade martial monarch. Xiao Chen spent the day comprehending the Sea of Lightning Saber Light. The might of the Sea of Lightning Saber Light was comparable to a heaven-ranked martial technique. When he changed it from a sword move to a saber move, there were still many imperfections. After a few actual battles, Xiao Chen had already discovered some of them. As time passed, Xiao Chen improved on the many flaws of the Sea of Lightning Saber Light. Furthermore, he added many of his own things into it. Xiao Chen's state of thunder contained the state of immortality, which was different from others. If he could perfectly integrate it, the might of his saber technique would be even stronger. Immortal, what was immortal? Not 1,000 years, not 10,000 years, but eternal immortality. Xiao Chen thought about the will of thunder in the Thunder King Valley, which had been circulating for 1,000 years without diminishing in might. Even a martial sage would not dare to display its sharpness. One could easily imagine how powerful the power of immortality was. Inside the courtyard, Xiao Chen muttered to himself, "The Sea of Lightning saber light is divided into 3 parts. The first part is saber images, which mainly reflect the word light. When the saber lights fill the sky, the enemy will find it hard to distinguish the real from the fake. I'm more or less done with this part. The second part is the Sea of Lightning formed from the will. I still need some time to merge the will of immortality into it. The last move is unpredictable. As the essence of this move, the seniors have already perfected it to the point where it can't be any more perfected. I don't need to think of any other way. Actually, this move could already be said to be perfect. It was definitely not inferior to the original version. It was just that Xiao Chen was nitpicking, using his own characteristics to make it even stronger. 10 days later, after executing the Sea of Lightning saber light thousands of times in the courtyard, Xiao Chen finally comprehended something. Xiao Chen leaped into the courtyard. The instant the saber light lit up, he swung his saber 7 times. Each saber strike split into 7 strands of saber light. It formed 49 saber lights, which were hard to distinguish between real and fake. It was twice as many as before. In an instant, the saber lights in the courtyard flickered incessantly. Every strand of electric saber light was as dazzling and resplendent as the resplendent sun, dazzling everyone's eyes. However, in just an instant, the saber light vanished without a trace. This made everyone doubt the authenticity of that resplendent saber light. In the next moment, a sea of lightning suddenly formed in the air. The sea of lightning wasn't vast, but it emanated an eternal and indestructible aura that made it even more difficult to break through. Xiao! The sea of lightning vanished, and a strand of saber light leaped out. Aside from its startlingly fast speed, it also had an unfathomable trajectory. The greatest difference between this saber strike and the previous one was that it continued the immortal aura of the Sea of Lightning. It vaguely felt like that strand of saber light had existed for hundreds or even thousands of years, giving off a vast and ancient aura. This saber light gained the air of a great master, sublimating this martial technique. Boundless saber images, immortal Sea of Lightning, mysterious saber light. Xiao Chen completed the 3 steps in one go, feeling boundless joy in his heart. A smile involuntarily appeared on Xiao Chen's face. He sheathed his saber and muttered, "I finally succeeded. In the future, this saber strike will be called Ghostly Image Chop, the immortal ghostly image chop that belongs to me, Xiao Chen." Perfecting the Sea of Lightning saber light into the ghostly image chop was sufficient to raise Xiao Chen's strength by 20%. Now, this move finally had some of the might of a heaven-ranked martial technique. The senior in the Sage Lamp once said that the might of this move would continuously increase as one's strength increased until it reached its peak. When executed, the sky would be filled with thousands of 3-kilometer-long sword lights. The sea of fire they formed could burn half the sky. The might of one sword strike could tear through the sky. Xiao Chen was fascinated by this. After spending so many days on this move, he had not wasted any of it. After another 5 days, Xiao Chen's peak late-stage inferior-grade martial monarch cultivation had reached a bottleneck after enjoying a spirit vein's origin alone. He could no longer advance any further. 99 drops of purple quintessence liquid floated above Xiao Chen's dantian. They glowed with a heavy light. Xiao Chen's cultivation was vast and dense. Xiao Chen tried a few times, but he could clearly feel a formless barrier blocking him. Amidst the softness of the barrier, there was an extremely strong tenacity. It would be extremely difficult to break it. After checking a few times, Xiao Chen frowned slightly and said, "The 10 medial-grade spirit-gathering pearls from the top contribution are probably not enough." Given this, Xiao Chen needed to gather enough medial-grade spirit-gathering pearls to break through the bottleneck. Forget it. I should go and collect my stipend first. At most, I will take on a few more 3,000-point missions. It will just take some time. Since he could collect his stipend today, Xiaochen washed up and tidied up his clothes before leaving. Along the way, Xiaochen ran into several inner sect disciples. When they saw Xiaochen, they immediately moved far away. Fear appeared in their eyes. Half a month ago, Xiaochen fought with the leaders of the 5 factions of the inner sect and defeated all 5 of them by himself. Then, he forcefully defeated Sidu Gang, who sneak attacked him. Xiaochen's fame in the inner sect was unparalleled, catching up to the mysterious Yunfeiyu. Back then, Xiaochen had been very decisive and merciless. He had broken the arms of 5 people without any hesitation. Recently, there was news that Xiaochen had pushed Yunfeiyu off the contribution ranking, pushing him into the eye of the storm. Many people were guessing when Xiaochen and Yunfeiyu would have a match. Like Xiaochen, the inner sect's Yunfeiyu always acted alone. However, no one dared to seek trouble for him. This was because Yu Jiqiang and the other 4 had suffered at his hands as well. Normally, the 2 of them did not like to flaunt their personalities. However, they were both proud and unwilling to admit defeat. As the saying went, one mountain cannot hold 2 tigers. A fight between the 2 of them was necessary and inevitable. There could only be one top disciple in the inner sect. When Xiaochen saw the evasive gazes around him, he was already used to it. He did not bother with the whispers of these people. When Xiaochen entered the vast hall where he collected his stipend, he saw many people moving around. Inner sect disciples waiting to collect their stipend were everywhere. When Xiaochen saw a corner, he casually walked over. As he walked, he brushed past a blue-robed swordsman. After passing each other by a few body lengths, the 2 stopped and sensed something extraordinary about each other. Then, they turned around at the same time. Xiaochen looked at this person. The blue-robed swordsman was of medium build and very skinny. He had a stern face, thin lips, and sharp eyebrows that looked like they were carved. He looked very neat and tidy. In his black eyes, there was a powerful sword intent that was hidden like a waterfall. With just a glance, the terrifying sword intent would burst forth. This person's cultivation had reached early-stage superior-grade martial monarch, putting a faint pressure on Xiaochen. Subconsciously, Xiaochen compared this person to the true inheritor Chen Xiao, whom he had met before. He discovered that this person was not much weaker than Chen Xiao, he was extremely strong. Who in the inner sect could have such a cultivation to put such pressure on Xiaochen? The answer was obvious. Aside from Yunfeiyu, it could not be anyone else. As Xiaochen sized up Yunfeiyu, the other party sized him up as well. In the end, Yunfeiyu revealed a disdainful smile and said, "White-robed bladesman, Xiaochen. Not bad. I finally meet you today." Xiao. Right after Yunfeiyu spoke, the sword intent in his eyes became like 2 sharp blades shooting at Xiaochen. The sword intent buzzed in the air, giving off a resonant, pleasing sound. Xiaochen's gaze sank, and the saber intent in his eyes clashed without fear. His perfect 60% comprehended saber intent also turned into an incredibly sharp blade as he looked at Yunfeiyu. Dang! 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 2 melodious clangs resounded in the air. It was like real weapons clashing intensely in the air. As the 2 clashed, a strong wind blew in the hall, causing their clothes to flutter continuously. The strong sword intent and saber intent in the wind spread out. The weapons of the disciples waiting to receive their stipend in the hall all trembled at the same time. A few disciples did not manage to hold on to their swords or sabers in time. Their weapons flew out of their scabbards and flew around the hall. Such a scene immediately attracted everyone's attention to Yunfeiyu and Xiaochen. The 2 of them really clashed. I knew it. They would definitely fight. Xiaochen is really strong. Even when facing Yunfeiyu's 70% comprehended sword intent, he did not give way at all. Excitement immediately appeared on everyone's faces. When they saw that Xiaochen did not immediately fall into a disadvantage, they were even more astonished. However, even so, they were filled with anticipation for the match between the two. If Xiao Chen lost right from the start, there would be no fun at all. A strange light flashed in Yun Feiyu's eyes. It was not convenient for him to get serious in the hall, so he withdrew his sword intent. The corners of his lips curled up as he said indifferently, a perfect 60% comprehended saber intent. No wonder you have the confidence to compete with me. However, this is not enough. You're on your own. Don't do something that you will regret for the rest of your life. After Yun Feiyu spoke, he did not wait for Xiao Chen to reply. He turned around and headed for the hall. From the start to the end, Yun Feiyu did not truly care about Xiao Chen. After probing Xiao Chen, he felt that it was beneath him to speak too much. As Xiao Chen watched Yun Feiyu leave, his expression turned grave. Yun Feiyu was indeed as the rumors said. His heart was higher than the sky, and he considered everyone beneath him. Looking into the distance, Xiao Chen discovered 4 people waiting for Yun Feiyu outside the hall. These 4 people had stern expressions, looking aloof and aloof. No one dared to get within 100 meters of them. When they saw them from afar, they all bowed respectfully and greeted them. Based on their medallions, they were all true inheritors. Seeing Yun Feiyu arrive, the 4 lowered their statuses and politely chatted with him for a while before heading off into the distance. Yun Feiyu truly lives up to his name. Even the true inheritors, senior brother Hua, are so polite to him. When the disciples in the hall saw this scene, they all revealed envious expressions. When they looked at Xiao Chen, they all felt that although Xiao Chen was currently in the limelight, he was still far from comparable to Yun Feiyu. Chapter 681. As for Xiao Chen, he was thinking about something else. Yun Feiyu had suddenly rushed back to the sect last month because he was summoned by the true inheritors. Xiao Chen did not know if this matter was related to Yun Feiyu's decision to give up a 3,000 contribution point mission and give up the first rank. There had to be a huge benefit hidden in this. Unfortunately, Xiao Chen was alone. No matter how curious he was, he could not interfere with the matters of the true inheritors. High in the sky outside the hall, the other 4 true inheritors of the Haotian sect watched Yun Feiyu's group leave. Their expressions turned grave. Of these 4, Xiao Chen recognized 2, Chen Xiao and Wang Cheng. Chen Xiao had some friendship with Xiao Chen. Wang Cheng looked at a black-clad youth on his right and said, "Senior brother Hu, it looks like Hua Tianhu and the others really went to find Yun Feiyu. We are in danger now." The black-clad man with the family name Hu sighed softly. With Yun Feiyu's strength, he fully deserves to be the strongest in the inner sect. He will become a true inheritor in at most 1 year. With his help, the balance between us and Hua Tianhu will be broken. Why don't we find one of the inner disciples as well? The only delicate woman among the 4 said softly. The black-clad man smiled bitterly and said, "Easier said than done. We are going to kill a peak rank 8 spirit beast. No matter how much trash we send, they will only be sending themselves to death. They might even cause more trouble." The others thought about it and agreed. Just the aura of a peak rank 8 spirit beast could scare some people. When the time came, they would be flustered and would have to split their attention to take care of it. It was better not to send anyone. Just at this moment, Chen Xiao thought of someone. He said, "I know someone who might be able to help us. Although his cultivation is low, he has a strong physical body. Furthermore, he consumed the monarch blood grass and will not fear the aura of a peak rank 8 spirit beast." Who? Chen Xiao's words piqued the interest of the other 3. They could not help but look at Chen Xiao. They spent most of their time exploring and cultivating. They did not know much about the inner sect disciples. Spirit gathering pearls. Spirit gathering pearls, there are still too few. Xiao Chen muttered after he received his stipend. The first rank of the contribution ranking would receive 1 million superior grade spirit stones, 100 inferior grade spirit gathering pearls, and 10 medial grade spirit gathering pearls. Superior grade spirit stones and inferior grade spirit gathering pearls would not be of much help to Xiao Chen now that his cultivation had reached a bottleneck. Compared to inferior grade spirit gathering pearls, medial-grade spirit-gathering pearls were much more precious. Not only did they require more spirit stones, but they also exhausted a martial sage's origin energy. Regular martial sages no longer had the strength to refine medial-grade spirit-gathering pearls. Only superior-grade martial sages or peak martial sages could refine medial-grade spirit-gathering pearls. Superior-grade martial sages and peak martial sages were considered the mainstays of a rank 9 sect. Any sect would not have too many of them. Zhao's sect disciples usually, the Chen's martial inheritor Peak Zhao's Shao would Chen sect, they was, among the great martial sect of the sect mountain. Chen Yun Shao family Chen. Yun. He Yun Chen. Normally, his main task was to guard the sect, maintain the stability of the Haotian province, and prevent strong spirit beasts, loose cultivators, and demonic calamities from invading. Spending time every month to refine 100 medial-grade spirit-gathering pearls was already very good. Not to mention the thousands of inner sect disciples, there would not even be enough for the 9 true inheritors. One could easily imagine how precious medial-grade spirit-gathering pearls were in the sect. If one wanted to purchase them outside the sect, they would have to pay a sky-high price. I'll fight for the first rank again. 20 medial-grade spirit-gathering pearls will be enough for me to make a breakthrough. A resolute look flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes. Even if Yun Feiyu threatened him, he would not care. He, Xiao Chen, had never feared competition. When Xiao Chen returned to his courtyard, he was surprised to see 4 figures chatting at the door. All of them had unfathomable auras. Their cultivations were incredibly strong. Even though they withdrew their auras, they could not be underestimated. Xiao Chen could tell that they were extraordinary. A strange light flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes as he walked over to the 4. Then, he performed a cupped fist salute and said, "Xiao Chen greets senior brothers." This was the etiquette of the sect. When one met a true inheritor, one had to show respect. According to the rules, one had to not only perform a cupped fist salute but also bow to show respect. Xiao Chen felt proud in his heart. Although the 4 were stronger than him, they had not reached the point where he had to bow. When Wang Cheng saw Xiao Chen's appearance, a brilliant light flashed in his eyes. He smiled and said, "Junior brother Chen, you kept us in suspense. So, you are talking about him." 2 months ago, Wang Cheng had met Xiao Chen once. At that time, Xiao Chen had been an early-stage inferior-grade martial monarch. Furthermore, his quintessence had been extremely unstable, not dense at all. The only thing that Wang Cheng remembered was the strength of Xiao Chen's physical body. Xiao Chen had been able to clash head-on with the Battle Realm's Sida gang. However, that was all. Xiao Chen's improvement in cultivation was not very impressive. The spiritual energy of the Kunlun realm was abundant, and he had the spirit-gathering pearls to break through the bottleneck of martial monarch. Logically speaking, a regular genius would be able to advance to medial-grade martial monarch in 2 months. However, Xiao Chen was only an inferior-grade martial monarch. It could only be said that Xiao Chen's talent in cultivation was not high. Hence, Wang Cheng did not think much of Xiao Chen. He shook his head slightly and did not say anything more. The only azure-clad girl among the 4 also frowned slightly. She said, "Junior brother Chen, even if this person consumed the monarch bloodgrass and half a drop of dragon marrow, his cultivation is still too weak. He probably cannot break the defense of a peak rank 8 spirit beast." However, the black-clad youth leading the group stared at Xiao Chen in silence. A spiritual light flickered in his pitch-black eyes as if he had discovered something but did not dare to be too sure. Xiao Chen felt somewhat confused when he heard this. What peak rank 8 spirit beast? What low cultivation? What none of this had anything to do with him? Since the other party did not say anything, Xiao Chen did not ask. He only waited calmly for them to continue. Suddenly, the black-clad youth, who had been silent for a long time, said, "Xiao Chen, if I am not wrong, you refined your quintessence twice when you were an inferior-grade martial monarch, right?" The moment the black-clad youth said this, the other 3 were startled. They sized up Xiao Chen once more, their gazes filled with disbelief. If Xiao Chen refined his quintessence once before consuming the quintessence-gathering pill, he would experience a heart-wrenching pain that could kill him. Since ancient times, there had been many people who had dared to refine their quintessence twice. However, those who could endure it were few and far between. Furthermore, their accomplishments were resplendent, becoming heroes throughout the ages. Since the other party could tell, Xiao Chen had no reason to deny it. He nodded gently in acknowledgement. Indeed. The black-clad youth smiled faintly and said, "In that case, your cultivation should be equal to that of a peak medial-grade martial monarch. Adding in your physical body, you should be able to hold your own against a superior-grade martial monarch." Wang Cheng revealed some doubt in his eyes. He still did not believe it. He asked, "Junior brother Xiao, do you mind if I test you?" The black-clad youth entered deep thought. Then, he nodded and said, "Junior brother Xiao, if you can receive one move from Wang Cheng, we will give you a great opportunity." Xiao Chen already had his cultivation and physical body. However, no matter what, how much strength he could bring out was the key. Chen Xiao, who was among the four, also winked at Xiao Chen, indicating that he should make good use of this opportunity. Regardless of whether this was an opportunity or not, Xiao Chen was prepared to deal with the next palm strike seriously. Xiao Chen had heard of the fame of the true inheritors for a long time. He had long wanted to fight them. "Junior brother Xiao, I will only use 30% of my strength for this palm strike. As long as you do not get knocked back, consider it as you receiving it," Wang Cheng said seriously as he looked at Xiao Chen. Wang Cheng was a late-stage superior-grade martial monarch. He had consumed the quintessence-gathering pill 3 times before. Furthermore, they were all expensive superior-grade quintessence-gathering pills. After refining his quintessence 3 times, it had reached an extremely sharp level. The thickness of his quintessence was even more terrifying. Even if Wang Cheng used only 30% of his strength, the quintessence he brought out would be equal to that of a medial-grade martial monarch. However, Wang Cheng's requirements were not high. As long as he did not get knocked back, it would be fine. That was to say, being knocked back a few steps was still acceptable. Xiao Chen felt some anticipation in his heart. He nodded with a grave expression and said, "Senior brother Wang, make your move." Coming. Wang Cheng did not seem to go through any process of storing up energy or condensing qi. He casually waved his hand, and his aura erupted. His palm released a jade-like glow. Wang Cheng moved like an arrow as he tore through the air in front of him. 2 strong winds blew, causing Xiao Chen's face to hurt. His clothes also flapped noisily. Wang Cheng moved as fast as lightning. In half a breath, he arrived before Xiao Chen. His jade-like right palm smashed toward Xiao Chen's chest. In the time it took for a spark to fly, Xiao Chen quickly made a decision. He gave up on purely defending and took a step forward, merging his quintessence and vital qi. To everyone's astonishment, Xiao Chen sent out a similar palm strike. The black-clad youth and the other 2 were surprised. They had not expected Xiao Chen to be so bold. Instead of defending Wang Cheng, he chose to attack. Boom! When the 2 palms clashed, a loud sound rang out. 100-meter-wide pit appeared under the 2's feet. The other 3 quickly dodged to the side. A horrifying force burst out from Wang Cheng's palm, forming a visible primal chaos shock wave that knocked Xiao Chen back. However, the matter was not over yet. The true inheritor, Wang Cheng, was also sent flying like an arrow. The shock wave knocked him back 100 meters before he landed heavily on the ground. Wang Cheng's qi and blood surged as he circulated his quintessence with all his might. The quintessence in his meridians surged like a river, surging endlessly. It suppressed the quintessence and vital qi that rushed into his body. Xiao Chen was in a somewhat sorry state. He flew back 100 meters. When he landed, he could not suppress the quintessence in his body, so he vomited a mouthful of blood. However, Xiao Chen's physical body was very tough. Wang Cheng did not use any techniques in this palm strike, nor did he try to kill Xiao Chen. Hence, it could only be considered a minor injury. Chen Shao smiled faintly and said, "Senior brother how do we count this?" Both of them were sent flying. The black-clad youth appeared very heroic. He laughed loudly and said, "How do we count this? You can ask Wang Cheng. Look at how embarrassed he is to say that he won." Wang Cheng immediately felt embarrassed. An inferior-grade martial monarch had sent a bona fide true inheritor flying. Although Wang Cheng had only used 30% of his strength, he had already embarrassed himself greatly. Wang Cheng smiled bitterly and said, "Stop teasing me. This is really embarrassing. However, we have indeed picked up a treasure." The green-clad girl also had a smile in her bright eyes. She looked at Xiao Chen with satisfaction. The black-clad youth strode over to Xiao Chen and handed him a jade bottle. He said, "There are 10 medial-grade spirit-gathering pearls in here. I will give you 1 night to advance to medial-grade martial monarch. We will come and look for you tomorrow." Chapter 682. Xiao Chen could not figure out what was going on. When he saw that the 4 were about to leave, he quickly pulled Chen Shao back and asked, "Senior brother Chen, what's going on?" Chen Shao turned his head and said, "That is our senior brother one of the 3 true inheritors with the authority to conscript you. Now that you have been conscripted, you have no right to refuse." Chen Shao changed the topic and smiled. "Don't worry. If things go smoothly, this will be a fortuitous encounter for you. It will be beneficial to you." Conscription. This was not the first time Xiao Chen had heard of this term. Previously, the black-robed administrator had said that Yun Feiyu had been conscripted and returned quickly. A conscription could not be refused. This also explained why Yun Feiyu gave up on the 3,000 contribution point mission and rushed back. Of the 9 true inheritors, only 3 had the authority to conscript them. Xiao Chen slowly figured out the situation in his mind. Aside from the top-ranked true inheritors, Shui Lingling, who worked in the Bushin Palace, there were 2 factions. These 2 factions probably used their conscription powers for the same matter. The other faction conscripted Yun Feiyu, breaking the balance between the 2 factions. For the sake of resisting the other faction, Chen Zhao's faction conscripted Xiao Chen. However, there was too little information for the 2 factions to pay so much attention to this matter. Xiao Chen could not figure it out. Xiao Chen's expression changed slightly. He said softly, "Could it really be for a peak rank 8 spirit beast? Otherwise, Yun Feiyu would have returned last month. He would have completed it already." A rank 8 spirit beast was equivalent to a late-stage superior-grade martial monarch. If it was a king among spirit beasts, it would be even stronger. Even a peak martial monarch would not be a match for it. Only a half-sage would dare to say that they could defeat it easily. Even if Chen Shao and the other 3 worked together, they would barely be able to do so. However, there was no point in thinking so much. Even if there was danger and Xiao Chen was conscripted, he had no right to refuse. Unless he forcibly withdrew from the Haotian sect, that was impossible. Danger often came hand in hand with opportunity. As Chen Shao said, this might be a great fortuitous encounter for Xiao Chen. Holding the jade bottle in his right hand, Xiao Chen's eyes revealed a determined look. Since the opportunity was right in front of him, he could not afford to be timid. After returning to the cultivation room, Xiao Chen made preparations to advance to medial-grade martial monarch. His foundation was firm, and his quintessence was vast and pure. As long as one had enough medial-grade spirit-gathering pearls and could endure the pain, breaking through the bottleneck would not be difficult. When the sun rose, Xiao Chen successfully broke through his bottleneck and advanced to medial-grade martial monarch. This increase in cultivation allowed the quintessence in his body to soar. It had more than doubled, unlike the minor realms where it only increased by 20%. As the purple thunder divine incantation circulated, the spiritual energy in the spirit veins origin poured in endlessly. The feeling of being unable to advance no matter how he tried to absorb the energy disappeared without a trace. Xiao Chen opened his eyes, and a bright light shone in them. His eyes revealed a frightening gaze. His black pupils became even deeper, making them unfathomable. Xiao Chen extended out his spiritual sense and saw that Chen Xiao and the others were already waiting outside the courtyard. He did not delay any longer, making some preparations before leaving. When the black-clad youth saw Xiao Chen's aura, he nodded to himself and smiled. You actually managed to break through in one night. This means that your foundation is very firm. Otherwise, it would not have been so easy. The black-clothed youth, Hu Hai, took out a black token from his sleeve and said sternly, let's cut to the chase. I will not beat around the bush. I am now officially recruiting you. According to the rules, you cannot refuse. However, I do not force others. If you are afraid, you can reject me. Take the spirit-gathering pearls I gave you yesterday as a sign of good karma. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and did not hesitate to receive the black conscription medallion. He said, why would I reject you? This is exactly what this Xiao was looking for. The black-clad youth laughed loudly and said, I just knew that you would not reject me. How can someone who can endure the pain of refining their quintessence twice be cowardly? Under the Xiao Chen's gaze, Chen Xiao stepped forward and said, Xiao Chen, now that you are a member of our team, there is no need to hide some things from you. The true inheritors have always been split into two factions. The two factions are like fire and water, constantly fighting each other. Actually, this is something the elders do on purpose. Even though we have become true inheritors, we do not dare to slack off and have to constantly compete with each other. This time, we will be competing again. The results of the competition are very important. Whoever gains the initiative will be able to follow first senior sister to the savage battlefield. The savage battlefield was the place where the ancient emperors fought. It was vast and boundless. It was originally a mysterious forbidden land with countless treasures buried in it. After the emperor's war, the martial emperors of the various races poured their blood on it, turning it into a land of fortuitous encounters. There were all sorts of natural treasures, spirit herbs, and spirit trees that were rarely seen in the outside world. The monarch blood grass that Xiao Chen consumed could not even rank at the very top. Aside from this, there were several martial emperors' graves and true dragon caves. There were even several immortal sect remnants from the immortal epic. The savage battlefield itself was a forbidden land. Furthermore, there were countless forbidden lands within the forbidden land. Even the current martial emperors could not explore them all. There were still many unknown forbidden lands waiting for the peak geniuses to explore. This was one of the few public lands of fortuitous encounters in the Kunlun realm. The importance of a fortuitous encounter to a cultivator went without saying. A genius without a fortuitous encounter and a genius with a fortuitous encounter would instantly be far behind. There was a demonic barrier around the savage battlefield that would weaken once every 3 years. For the sake of tempering their disciples, the various sects would send their elites into the savage battlefield to seek their own fortuitous encounters. The peak young experts of the Tianwu domain would not be willing to miss out on this opportunity. Otherwise, they would be left far behind if others gained a fortuitous encounter. This is indeed a fortuitous encounter, Xiao Chen thought to himself. However, he still had some doubts. He said, I can go as well. Hu Hai nodded and smiled. As long as you are not afraid of taking risks, naturally, you can. You are already part of our team now. Of course, this is all on the premise that we can defeat Hua Tianhe in the competition. Otherwise, it will all be for naught. The goal of the competition was set by the top true inheritor of the Haotian sect, Shui Lingling. The two teams would be the first to kill a peak rank 8 spirit beast. Whoever could follow her into the savage battlefield would obtain the qualifications to follow her into the savage battlefield. Xiao Chen understood the ins and outs of the matter. He asked, are we going now? Hu Hai sized up Xiao Chen and smiled. There is no rush. You are still lacking something. You have an early superior grade inner vest secret treasure, but that is not enough for defense. Hu Hai removed his identity medallion and said to the green-clad girl, Jun Si, bring him to buy 2 better shields. We will wait for you outside the city. Defensive secret treasures were rarely seen and extremely valuable. Xiao Chen could not help but feel moved by this black-clad youth's generosity. First, this black-clad youth gave Xiao Chen 10 medial-grade spirit-gathering pearls. Now, without even blinking, he bought 2 defensive shields for himself. The group split up for now. The green-clad girl, Jun Si, led Xiao Chen to the inner city. The others headed out of the city, heading to meet up when the time came. Junior brother Xiao Chen, I heard from Chen Xiao that you came from a lower realm. Which realm are you from? Jun Si chatted with Xiao Chen in the air. Xiao Chen answered honestly, the Sky Dome realm. Jun Si's eyes lit up. She said, the Thunder King, Sang Mu's Sky Dome realm. Xiao Chen was somewhat surprised. Unexpectedly, there was still someone who remembered the name of the Thunder King. Ever since he came to the Kunlun realm, everyone revealed an expression of disdain when they heard the name Sky Dome realm. Very few people were as pleasantly surprised as Jun Si. Jun Si smiled gently and said, our Jun clan received great grace from the Thunder King in the past. Even now, there is a statue of the Thunder King in our clan's headquarters. Little junior brother Xiao Chen, I will take care of you in the future. Tell me about the Thunder King's time in the Sky Dome realm. Xiao Chen felt embarrassed in his heart. The other party looked to be about the same age as him. Such a tone made him feel somewhat uncomfortable. However, Xiao Chen still told her about the Thunder King's time in the Sky Dome realm before he became famous. There were too many legends about the Thunder King. Xiao Chen only told a small part of them before the two arrived at the inner city. Jun Si said regretfully, tell me about it next time. I'll bring you to the auction house first. Time was tight, but Jun Si was very serious about choosing. Every time she chose a shield, she would personally check it several times. After searching for a long time, she still could not find a shield that satisfied her. Jun Si shook her head and said, originally, I was planning to find 2 superior-grade shields for you. However, defensive secret treasures are too rare. Without an official auction, it would be hard to find one. These are 2 peak medial-grade shields. Give them a try. They might be able to save your life at a crucial moment. The 2 shields were as tall as Xiao Chen. They were extremely heavy and hard. Xiao Chen did not know what they were made of. Xiao Chen held 1 shield in each hand. Then, he placed the 2 shields together and infused his quintessence into them. They immediately formed a sealed barrier, encasing Xiao Chen inside. After feeling the thickness of the barrier, Xiao Chen felt very satisfied. He said, these 2, then. I feel very good. Jun Si was still not satisfied. She said, that is all we can do. Let's go. They have been waiting for a long time already. Outside the city gates, Hu Hai and the other 2 had been waiting for a long time already. After Xiao Chen and Xiao Chen arrived, they immediately set off. Hu Hai waved his sleeves, and a small, exquisite, black, steel warship appeared. The warship slowly enlarged, turning into a lone boat. After the 4 boarded the warship, 4 jets shot out from the back of the steel warship. They burst forth with a strong thrust and soared into the clouds in the blink of an eye. Xiao Chen sized up the steel warship and felt amazed. The style of the warship was simple, but it gave off a strong sense of security. It felt cool to the touch. Seeing Xiao Chen's curiosity, Xiao Chen smiled and said, this is the treasure that senior brother Hu is proud of. It is a fragment of a magic treasure that he obtained from an immortal sect remnant. After the refiners of the Tianwu domain's fiery sect modified it, it is now equivalent to a high-ranked superior-grade secret treasure. When Hu Hai, who was at the bow of the warship, heard this, he smiled faintly and said, it is nothing. That magic treasure is already very badly damaged. After modifying it to its current state, it has lost many of its functions. Xiao Chen, let me tell you about the target of this trip. Our target is the peak rank 8 spirit beast, the Golden Savage Ox. This fellow is a bona fide tyrant of the Savage Beast Forest. It is very difficult to deal with. Xiao Chen had heard of the Savage Beast Forest before. It was an extremely vast forest, even larger than the Haotian province. It bordered the nearby provinces. In the northernmost part of the savage beast forest, after passing through a few cities, one would arrive at the Fiend domain, which bordered the Tianwu domain. That was the territory of the Fiend race, and the borders were rather chaotic. Chapter 683. The savage beast forest was once famous for its savage beasts. Savage beasts were creatures unique to the ancient era. They were known for their strength and defense. Even a regular Emperor Wu would not be able to deal with a strong savage beast. They were as tall as small mountains. As they ran, they could shake heaven and earth. Their roars could shatter the clouds, and the sound waves could shatter one's internal organs. However, even now, savage beasts were nowhere to be seen. In the long river of history, savage beasts had already vanished. Only some spirit beasts still had the bloodline of savage beasts. They were much stronger than regular spirit beasts, comparable to king spirit beasts of the same rank. The number of spirit beasts with the bloodline of savage beasts in the savage beast forest was more than anywhere else. Even today, people still habitually referred to it as the savage beast forest. The golden savage ox that Hu Hai and the others wanted to kill was such a spirit beast with the bloodline of a savage beast. In the past month, they had gone in 5 times but returned in failure. This was because the defense of this golden savage ox was simply too strong. When it went berserk, its strength was even more frightening. Just a light strike from it could injure one's tendons and bones. Hu Hai continued, "Xiao Chen, we called you here mainly to help us pin down this golden savage ox, so that we can attack it more easily. This is because your physical body is stronger than all of ours combined. Your endurance far surpasses ours as well." Xiao Chen smiled bitterly to himself. No wonder Hu Hai gave him 10 medial-grade spirit-gathering pearls and spent so much money to buy a shield for him. It turned out that there was such a dangerous mission for him. This thing is not easy to carry, Xiao Chen thought to himself. Jun Si said, "Xiao Chen, don't overthink this. We will help you and not put too much pressure on you." Hu Hai nodded and said, "Do your best." Half a month ago, Yun Feiyu joined Hua Tianhe's group. They will definitely advance faster than us. It was clear that Hu Hai and the others were under a lot of pressure. They had high hopes for Xiao Chen. 4 hours later, the savage beast forest appeared before their eyes. Many cultivators of various cultivations could be seen at the entrance of the forest. There was a simple bazaar outside the forest. A large number of merchants went there to facilitate transactions for the adventuring cultivators. Let's go down. There are many bird-type spirit beasts in the savage beast forest. It is not easy to fly. Hu Hai gently shook his sleeve, and the steel warship quickly shrank, entering his sleeve. It was a miraculous sight. The 5 of them executed their respective movement techniques and landed firmly on the ground. When the people in the market saw the medallions on the 5 of them, they all had respectful expressions. In this area, the reputation of the Haotian sect was extremely useful. It was enough to deter those who wanted to fish in troubled waters. "Senior brother Hu, we're going to kill a golden savage bull again. Don't return empty-handed this time." Just as Xiao Chen's group was about to enter the forest, the footsteps of a group of uninvited guests came from behind. Xiao Chen turned around and saw that it was the other 4 true disciples of the Haotian sect. Yun Feiyu was among them. The person who spoke was dressed in a blue and white robe. His eyes shone with a reserved light, and as he spoke, a lofty aura emanated from him. His arrogance was not a deliberate act, but a natural result of his daily accumulation and the contrast of his strength. Rage flashed in Hu Hai's eyes. Clearly, he had a grudge with this person for a long time. He said coldly, "Hua Tianhe, just take care of yourself. The spirit flame monkey you want to kill is not that easy to deal with." Hua Tianhe smiled faintly and said, "There is no need for you to worry. We already chopped off the left arm of this spirit flame monkey. This time, we will collect its head." The moment Hua Tianhe said that, the expressions of Chen Xiao and the others changed slightly. They had already expected that Hua Tianhe's progress would be faster than theirs. However, they had not expected it to be this much faster. Now that these 5 were ready to go, they were probably going to kill the spirit flame monkey. The victor is not decided yet. It is hard to say. Hua Tianhe, wait until you chop off the monkey head and hand it to first senior sister. Then, come and mock me. Hu Hai did not want to say anything more. He looked coldly at Hua Tianhe before leading the 4 away. Hua Tianhe kept his gaze on Xiao Chen's back. After a long time, he said, that brat is a little strange. Junior brother Yan, follow them from afar. If anything happens, you know what to do. The person addressed as junior brother Yan frowned and said, Senior brother Hua, you overestimate that person. He is just a medial grade martial monarch. Any one of us can easily crush him. Hua Tianhe shook his head and said, this fellow is also a body cultivator. I do not want anything unexpected to happen to him. The savage battlefield is too important to us. However, if I go, what will happen to the spirit flame monkey? Hua Tianhe said, don't worry. After losing its left arm, the spirit flame monkey will no longer be able to be the monkey king. Now, it is alone. In terms of combat prowess, it is no longer a match for us. Instead, its speed is a headache. Towering trees could be found everywhere. As they walked through the savage beast forest, they felt insignificant for some reason. Chen Xiao handed Xiao Chen a bottle of medicinal powder and said, rub it on your clothes. It can prevent you from being discovered by some low-ranked spirit beasts. We are in a rush. As the group advanced, the atmosphere was somewhat gloomy. Clearly, Hua Tianhe's words made them anxious. When Hu Hai saw the situation, he smiled and said, don't overthink things. The greatest characteristic of the spirit flame monkey is its speed. Now that it has lost an arm and is focused on fleeing, it will be even more of a headache. It will not be much faster than us. If we can succeed in one go and kill the golden savage ox, we will definitely be able to overtake them. Hu Hai's words filled the group with fighting spirit once more. The group moved even faster, advancing quickly through the small paths in the forest. Roar! A berserk beast roared. 500 meters in front, a 10-meter-tall spirit beast with 4 strong limbs and a ferocious aura covered in black scales appeared before the group. Chen Xiao frowned and said, it is a peak rank 7 spirit beast, the medicinal powder is useless against it. We have to get rid of it. Let me do it. Hu Hai stopped Chen Xiao, who was about to make a move. Then, he took out a huge axe from his spatial ring and walked over to the scaled tiger with a sullen expression. When the scaled tiger saw Hu Hai holding the huge axe, it opened its mouth and roared again. The roar formed a berserk wind, kicking up all the dust and fallen leaves on the ground. As the dust and pebbles flew, the scaled tiger moved its limbs. So. Sonic booms resounded in the air. The wind brought dust and fallen leaves, and the armored tiger's figure was hidden in it. Hu Hai narrowed his eyes and did not move. It was like he did not know danger was approaching. He did not even release his aura to intimidate the scaled tiger. Suddenly, the scaled tiger pierced through the dust like lightning and appeared above Hu Hai's head. It opened its jaws wide, preparing to bite down. From the back, it looked like as long as the scaled tiger closed its jaws, Hu Hai's head would explode in an instant. The scene would be extremely bloody. However, the other 3 did not show any signs of worry. They were extremely confident in Hu Hai's strength. Xiao Chen did not believe that Hu Hai would die just like that either, so he watched carefully. In the time it took for a spark to fly, Hu Hai's body tilted back slightly and fell to the ground. This was a very simple action, but it effectively dodged the scaled tiger's attack. Ka Xie. The scaled tiger opened and closed its jaws, but it only bit down on air. It was enraged, so it turned around in the air, wanting to turn around and launch another attack. However, just at this moment, Hu Hai, who was about to touch the ground, bounced back up with a xiao sound. Hu Hai's aura burst forth, and his quintessence surged, kicking up a boundless strong wind. He held the huge axe with both hands and roared as he swung it upwards. Pooh! Blood splattered. By the time Hu Hai stood up again, the scaled tiger's body had been chopped in half at the waist. The horrifying quintessence attached to the axe scattered, turning the remaining two halves of the scale into a mangled mess of flesh and blood flying in the air. Hu Hai did not care about the black beast blood landing on his clothes. He put away the huge axe and said, "Let's go." Xiao Chen's pupils constricted. Hu Hai's horrifying burst earlier made him feel fear from the bottom of his heart. Xiao Chen simulated it in his mind. If he had to face it head-on, he would not be able to endure it. A true inheritor who could issue the conscription order could not be underestimated. Along the way, Hu Hai dealt with all the strong spirit beasts that blocked the way. This greatly increased the group's speed. 5 days later, the group stopped in front of a gourd-shaped valley. The surroundings for 5 kilometers around the valley were extremely quiet. There were no signs of any spirit beasts. Hu Hai did not say anything. He led the four to the high ground on both sides of the valley. When Xiao Chen looked down, he finally saw the true body of their target. In the middle of the valley, which had an area of thousands of hectares, lay a huge creature. Its body was like a small hill, and it was 20 meters tall. A sharp horn protruded from its head, and its body was covered in golden fur. An ancient aura emanated from its body. At this moment, this golden savage ox lay comfortably on the ground. That was to say, if it stood up, its size would double. Xiao Chen was flabbergasted. This big fellow could crush a martial monarch with just its size. No wonder Hu Hai and the others returned empty-handed. Before Xiao Chen could recover his wits, Hu Hai said sullenly, "Xiao Chen, jump down and hold it back." When Xiao Chen heard this, he was slightly stunned. He wondered if Hu Hai had said something wrong. Jumping down to disturb the golden savage ox? Was there something wrong? When Xiao Chen turned his head, he saw the other three looking at him with the same expression. Xiao Chen's heart sank. He was certain that the other party was not joking. He no longer hesitated and gently leaped towards the golden savage ox. "Senior brother Hu, can Xiao Chen do it?" Jun Si asked worriedly as she watched Xiao Chen descend from the sky. A bright gleam appeared in Hu Hai's eyes. He said, "It will depend on his luck. If he wants to make an exception and follow us to the savage battlefield, he will have to bring out a corresponding strength. Otherwise, he will not get any benefits." He returned empty-handed 5 times. However, he finally figured out the golden savage ox's weakness. As long as he can last 2 rounds, he will attract the golden savage ox's attention. With your assistance, I am confident of killing this golden savage ox with 1 strike. The 4 focused their gazes on Xiao Chen, placing high hopes on him. He was someone who could knock the capital flying as an inferior-grade martial monarch. They could not let him down. As the distance between them decreased, Xiao Chen slowly calmed down. This was the most dangerous time since he came to the Kunlun realm. Chapter 684. If Xiao Chen was careless, he might die on the spot. His life's ideals and pride would all turn to dust. All his hard work over the past few years would be for naught. "I absolutely cannot fall here." Xiao Chen revealed a resolute expression. He circulated all the quintessence in his body, and his mind reached a highly ethereal state. The sleeping golden savage ox's vigilance did not weaken at all. When Xiao Chen landed 200 meters above it, it immediately sensed him. The golden savage ox's perked up ears twitched slightly, and it opened its eyes. When it saw the hazy figure in its vision, all its sleepiness vanished. "Who? Who?" The golden savage ox spat out a mouthful of turbid qi, which turned into a berserk turbulence. Its 4 thick legs protruded, and it stood up. The golden savage ox, which was already like a hill, grew another 20 meters, looking even more horrifying. A boundless pressure surged towards Xiao Chen in the air. The ancient savage qi combined with the ferocious aura of a peak rank 8 spirit beast pressed down on Xiao Chen like a small mountain. Xiao Chen did not panic. He activated the energy of the monarch blood grass in his bloodline. A trace of the ancient sovereign's aura surged out and clashed with the surging aura. Bang! In the invisible void, there was a loud muffled sound. The power of the two auras suddenly exploded, and in the spacious valley, there was a strong gust of wind. The four people on the cliff stared at Xiao Chen, waiting for Xiao Chen's next performance. If he could not even last one exchange, then all their efforts would have been in vain. Seeing that Xiao Chen had disturbed its sleep and even dared to clash with its aura, the golden savage ox became thoroughly enraged. It pushed off the ground, and its huge body shot up. The golden savage ox's huge body looked like a small mountain suddenly flying up. It looked very strange. Furthermore, the speed of this small mountain was astonishingly fast, surpassing everyone's expectations. Xiao Chen's expression sank. He knew that he could not dodge this golden savage ox's attack. He needed to thoroughly enrage this golden savage ox before he could create an opportunity for Hu Hai and the others. Berserk Dragon Fist. The vital qi in his body surged as Xiao Chen roared furiously. He clenched his right hand into a fist, and the blood in his body surged as a green dragon head formed. He did not dodge the charging golden savage ox. Instead, he punched the golden savage ox's head. Bang! The dragon's head roared. Xiao Chen's punch felt like it had struck a mountain made of cold iron. It was heavy and solid, unshakable. Blood leaked out of the corner of Xiao Chen's lips. The golden savage ox instantly sent him flying. A huge force surged into his body. His entire arm felt numb, and he lost all feeling. Xiao Chen's internal organs, heart, liver, gallbladder, kidneys, and spleen, were constantly being battered by a torrential force, causing him great pain. Such a horrifying strike aroused Xiao Chen's bloodlust. Xiao Chen somersaulted in the air and looked at the golden savage ox flying at him again. Xiao Chen's body sank down as he swung his numb right hand. Then, he executed the berserk dragon claw and charged at the golden savage ox without dodging. Chi! Chi! The azure-colored dragon claw left 5 wounds on the golden savage ox's face. Blood immediately flowed out. Good! When the 4 people on the cliff saw that not only was Xiao Chen fine, but he even managed to injure the golden savage ox, they all cheered in their hearts. Hu Hai said sullenly, "Prepare to make a move. This time, we will do our best to subdue this old ox." The golden savage ox was enraged. It turned around and retracted its 10-meter-long front hoof, flicking it at Xiao Chen. If the golden savage ox struck him, he would be severely injured even if he did not die. Xiao Chen did not dare to receive it head-on. The acupoints on the soles of Xiao Chen's feet opened up. In that instant, his figure flashed and brushed past the ox hoof. As the ox hoof flicked through the void, ripples visible to the naked eye spread out rapidly in all directions. Bang! When the ripples spread out, there was no way to dodge. Xiao Chen quickly took out 2 shields and infused his quintessence into them, forming a sealed space. Hu Qi! When the ripples struck the shields, Xiao Chen flew back like a cannonball. He crashed into the cliff of the valley and sank deep into it. Just the ripples were already so mighty. If Xiao Chen really got hit by the ox hoof, the consequences would be dire. Attack! At this moment, the golden savage ox was completely distracted by Xiao Chen. This was a good opportunity to attack. Hu Hai shouted and leaped out first. The axe gave off a cold light. Hu Hai had a ferocious look in his eyes, and his berserk aura was like that of a raging wild beast. The other 3 did not give way either. They all grasped their weapons and circulated their quintessence, chopping at the golden savage ox without holding anything back. The 4 strong auras caused the air in the valley to surge continuously. As the quintessence flowed, it formed strong winds that kicked up a boundless cloud of dust. The golden savage ox focused all its attention on Xiao Chen, preparing to deal a fatal blow to Xiao Chen, using its horns to ram him into the cliff. It did not expect there to be an ambush. Dang! 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 The weapon struck the middle of the golden savage bull's spine, producing metallic clangs that rang out incessantly. However, aside from Hu Hai's axe, which left a horrifying wound on the golden savage ox's body, the other three only left shallow wounds that were practically negligible. Hu Hai's expression changed when he saw the blood flowing out of the golden savage ox's wounds. He said, "Oh no. This is not the golden savage ox's fatal weakness. Let's leave quickly." However, it was too late to leave now. The golden savage ox roared miserably in pain, making everyone's hearts tremble. Paw! The golden savage ox swung its long tail ferociously. It carried more than 1,000,000 kilograms of force, causing the air to tremble. Chen Xiao could not dodge in time and was sent flying. Chen Xiao vomited a mouthful of blood. A deep whip mark appeared on the inner vest on his chest. The force from the whip immediately broke a few of his ribs. The golden savage ox turned around in the air and thrust its horn forward. This strike, which could smash apart a mountain, looked like it was about to strike Hu Hai. Hu Hai's expression turned grave. At the moment of life and death, he held his axe horizontally in front of his chest. His quintessence surged and formed a tough 2-centimeter thick barrier. Ka Xie. The ox horn easily tore through the barrier and struck the axe. Sparks flew everywhere, and the force knocked the axe out of Hu Hai's hand. Then, the axe flew into the air. Hu Hai's error in judgment and instantaneous counterattack threw the situation into chaos. The four were exposed to the attack range of the raging golden savage ox, and they were in grave danger. If they failed to kill the golden savage ox, they might even lose their lives. On a towering tree in the distance, the cultivator with the family name Yen revealed a smile when he saw this scene. He said, "It looks like there is no need for me to make a move. They will fail again this time." Xiao. Just at this moment, the clouds in the sky suddenly changed. An azure light shone in the valley, covering the entire mountain range. The cultivator with the family name Yan's expression changed slightly. He turned his head to look and saw that the white-robed bladesman that he did not think much of had squeezed out of the cliff and punched at the golden savage ox from a distance. Burning the heavens. An ancient blue dragon galloped in the boundless azure clouds. It roared ferociously, carrying the might of heaven as it punched furiously. A huge dragon claw clenched and tore through the clouds, descending from the sky and smashing into the golden savage ox's back. An earth-shaking sound reverberated in the vast valley for a long time. The golden savage ox's hill-sized figure landed on the ground with a loud bang. Xiao Chen smashed down the 50,000-kilogram golden savage ox with one punch, causing the ground to tremble and the sky to shake. The cultivator with the family name Yen gaped slightly. He had not expected that the white-robed bladesman, whom he did not think much of, would be able to turn the tide with one punch from a distance. The golden savage ox's huge body weighed more than 50 kilograms. When Xiao Chen punched it, it fell from the sky. After the golden savage ox fell to the ground, it tumbled a few times. The entire valley shook continuously, and rocks fell from the cliffs. The golden savage ox's four limbs bounced off the ground, and its seemingly cumbersome body nimbly stood up. When the golden savage ox saw Xiao Chen standing on the cliff, its eyes spewed fire. It was enraged. As an overlord of a region, an insignificant human had actually knocked it into the air. It had never suffered such a setback before. Thump! The golden savage ox stomped on the ground with its front limbs, and more than 1,000,000 kilograms of force exploded out. Countless cracks appeared on the ground out of thin air. The cracks slowly grew larger and soon turned into deep ravines. The golden savage ox's swollen golden eyes locked firmly on Xiao Chen. It roared ferociously and lifted its front legs high into the air. Then, it stomped on the ground with its hind legs. Xiao! The golden savage ox's huge body shot through the air like an arrow leaving a bow. It was unbelievably fast. The friction between the golden savage ox's huge body and the air gave off thunderous sonic booms that soared into the clouds. The clouds in the sky parted, and the sun shone down. Under the illumination of the intense light, the golden savage ox's golden fur gave off a resplendent light. It looked like an ancient savage beast, its aura shaking the sky and the ground. Xiao Chen showed a slightly startled expression, but he did not panic. Dragon roars resounded in his body. The trace of an ancient sovereign's aura clashed with the golden savage ox's aura, preventing the golden savage ox's aura from affecting the circulation of his quintessence. A blue dragon appeared under the golden savage ox's feet. In the time it took for a spark to fly, it carried Xiao Chen up into the sky. Boom! The moment the golden savage ox retreated, a loud rumble came from the cliff where Xiao Chen had been standing. When the golden savage ox rammed into it, the entire cliff crumbled. Rocks tumbled down like a gushing river. Xiao Chen felt startled. If he had retreated any later, no matter how strong his physical body was, he would have been smashed into bits. After its first attack failed, the golden savage ox soared into the sky again from the pile of mud. Its four hooves gave off golden flames as it ran through the air. Every step of the hoof, which was surrounded by golden flames, seemed to shatter the void as it trembled non-stop. Its speed also doubled in an instant. Flames of rage burned in the golden savage ox's golden eyes. For the sake of killing Xiao Chen, this golden savage ox was truly enraged. Another 2 dragon roars resounded. 2 more blue dragons appeared around Xiao Chen, and he moved like the wind. Xiao Chen moved in a strange arc, dodging the golden savage ox's attack. Then, he arrived at the golden savage ox's side and punched it again. Xiao Chen did not put much force into the punch, so it did not hurt or itch the golden savage ox. However, when the golden savage ox saw the slippery Xiao Chen toying with it, the rage in its heart burned even stronger. Chapter 685. Seeing that Xiao Chen had completely pinned down the golden savage ox, Hu Hai and the other 3 heaved a sigh of relief. Hu Hai waved his hand and the huge axe returned to his grasp. Then, he circulated his vast quintessence and quickly adjusted the surging energy in his body. Wang Cheng, whose ribs had been broken, endured the pain and forcibly circulated his quintessence to reconnect his broken ribs. This way, he would not lose his combat prowess for a while. "Are you all right, Wang Cheng?" Hu Hai asked Wang Cheng after the 4 gathered together. Wang Cheng nodded gently and said, "Fortunately, I have a superior grade inner vest. Otherwise, the force of that tail would have been enough to split me in half." Chen Xiao and Jun Si, who had not been attacked by the golden savage ox, celebrated in their hearts. Jun Si looked at Xiao Chen and said, "This Xiao Chen cannot be underestimated. That punch at the crucial moment saved us from this hunt." The earlier scene happened in one breath. The golden savage ox had knocked 2 people into the air. If not for Xiao Chen's punch, the outcome would have been terrible. Just thinking about it made one tremble in fear. Chen Xiao nodded and said, "When the golden savage ox goes berserk, it is really horrifying. With Xiao Chen here, our chances of victory are much higher." Wang Qing pointed out the crux of the problem. "It is not that optimistic. Xiao Chen must have burned all his vital qi in that earlier punch. He will not be able to do it a second time. We only have one chance left. If we cannot find it, we can only return in failure." Hu Hai said sullenly, "This time, I made an error in judgment. Aside from its spine, the only fatal point left is its neck." Actually, Hu Hai could not be blamed for this. There was pitifully little information about a high-ranked spirit beast like the golden savage ox. Everything had to be figured out by oneself. It was not possible to find the fatal point without any mistakes. Otherwise, the golden savage ox would not have lived for so long and become the tyrant of this place. Chen Xiao said, "It's fine. We have not even used our heaven-ranked martial techniques. We still have a good chance." The 4 quickly summarized the earlier battle. Then, they remained silent as they stared at the sky, at Xiao Chen, who was being chased by the golden savage ox. The situation was thrilling and intense. The golden savage bull's fur glistened under the sunlight, and its aura was violent and terrifying. This was especially so for the 4 hooves that were surrounded by the golden flames. The might of the hooves was even more astonishing. As they shot out, the sky rumbled and ripples shot out in all directions. More importantly, Although the golden savage ox was shockingly large, it was not slow at all. Xiao Chen was in danger of dying at any moment. But the more they watched, the more shocked they became. In such a dangerous situation, Xiao Chen could always turn danger into safety. Riding on the blue dragon, Xiao Chen would occasionally explode forth with astonishing power, dodging certain death situations time and time again. The two blue dragons around Xiao Chen danced, and auspicious clouds appeared, carrying Xiao Chen in circles. Occasionally, Xiao Chen would attack the golden savage ox, luring it back. Make your move, then. Execute a heaven-ranked martial technique and create an opportunity for me to kill him. Hu Hai grasped his huge axe tightly, and his expression turned grave. Then, he led the three over again. This was their only chance today, they had to succeed. Xiao Chen looked around and saw 4 people flying over. He knew that the golden savage ox would go berserk again, so he raised his guard. Plum Blossom Sword Exhibition. Jun Si held a sword in her hand and executed her inferior grade heaven-ranked martial technique first. As the sword light danced, it formed countless 7-petaled plum blossoms. In the mundane world, plum blossoms were fresh and elegant, beautiful and fragrant. When the petals spread out, they were pleasing to the eye. However, these plum blossoms were made of pure sword qi. They also contained the indestructible state of metal, turning them into sharp weapons for killing. As the petals danced in the air, sword qi filled the air, slicing all the tiny dust particles in the air into nothingness. Jun Si gently shook the hand that held the sword, and the petals gathered together, forming a huge plum blossom that chopped at the golden savage ox. Chen Xiao was on the left side of the golden savage ox. His heaven-ranked martial technique was not as elegant as Jun Si's. However, its aura was startling. 7 strands of sword qi filled with starlight floated above Chen Xiao's head. The 7 strands of sword qi connected from head to tail, forming a resplendent ring of swords. This move was called 7 stars surrounding the moon. Unfortunately, Chen Xiao had not completely comprehended it, so he had not been able to bring out the moon. Otherwise, its might would have increased significantly. On the other side, Wang Qing also executed his heaven-ranked martial technique. Countless strands of sword qi shot out from the ground of the valley and gathered on Wang Cheng's body. Heaven and Earth Sword Heart. Wang Cheng stretched his hand to the sky, and a thick sword light flew over from the east. The sword of heaven and the sword of earth merged into one. Wang Qing pointed his sword forward, and 2 thick dragons of sword qi appeared on the sword. The 3 of them executed their heaven and earth martial techniques at the same time. In that instant, the sky changed color. Dark clouds covered the sky, blocking out the blazing sunlight. The golden savage ox chasing Xiao Chen felt that something was wrong. It wanted to react, but the heaven-ranked martial technique had already been executed. It was not that easy to dodge. Bang! 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 The plum blossom sword qi was the first to arrive and embedded itself deeply into the golden savage ox's back. Then, the flower petals scattered and turned into countless strands of sword qi rampaging through the golden savage ox's body. Jun Si's expression turned cold. She arrived with her sword and quickly stabbed it into the golden savage ox's wound, causing it to cry out in pain. Before the golden savage ox could react, Chen Zhao's 7 stars surrounding the moon and Wang Cheng's heaven and earth sword heart arrived at the same time, tearing open horrifying wounds on the golden savage ox's side. Blood swords flew out, and the 3 swords stabbed deep into the golden savage ox's wound. The 3 of them held their swords with both hands and poured their quintessence into the swords without holding back. No matter how the golden savage ox struggled, they held it in place in midair. The 3 of them paled. A strong force came from their swords, and they felt like the golden savage ox could fling them away at any moment. Hu Hai, who was in the air, knew that the 3 of them could not hold out for long. He stared at the spot where the golden savage ox's head and body connected. After he made sure of it, he quickly executed his inferior grade heaven-ranked martial technique. The image of a huge azure axe materialized on the blade of the axe. When the axe chopped down, it chopped the air in half like it was a mountain. The 2 winds split in the middle, forming two 20-meter-tall tornadoes in the valley. Then, they spread out to both sides. Rumble. The tornadoes crashed into the cliffs, erupting with a startling destructive force. Rocks flew everywhere, and the cliffs crumbled. Countless rocks floated on both sides of the tornadoes, spiraling upwards. Xiao Qin retreated to the side. He knew that there was nothing left for him to do. With such a mighty strike, as long as it struck a fatal spot, the golden savage ox would die for sure. Before the axe arrived, the azure light image tore through the golden savage ox's tough skin. Blood spurted out like a fountain. Hu Hai's face lit up in joy. He knew that he had found the right person this time. He immediately increased the output of his quintessence, preparing to chop off this ox's head in one go. Xiao! However, just at this moment, something strange happened. A sharp sword light quickly flew over from the valley entrance. The sword chi was like a pillar, giving off a dazzling light. The sword intent was like the wind, and its killing chi was startling. The sword moved as fast as lightning, piercing towards Hu Hai's chest. As long as Hu Hai continued attacking the golden savage ox, he would not be able to dodge this sword strike. Even if he managed to chop off the ox's head, he would still die. The expressions of Jun Si and the other two completely changed. If Hu Hai did not chop down with his axe, he would end up killing the golden savage ox. After the golden savage ox struggled free and suffered severe injuries, its counterattack would be extremely horrifying. The three of them had exhausted a large amount of quintessence, so they would have to bear the brunt of the golden savage ox's overwhelming rage. However, if Hu Hai chopped down, he would die for sure. The person who attacked was no weaker than the three of them. There would be no chance of survival. The good situation was completely ruined by the sudden appearance of this sword, and danger was imminent. Either Hu Hai died and helped the three of them, or he blocked this sword strike and the three of them would die. Hu Hai felt conflicted in his heart. He showed extreme rage on his face. However, no matter how angry he was, the lightning-fast sword light already arrived before him. He had to make a decision. No matter what decision he made, Hu Hai would not be able to accept it. This made it hard for him to make a decision. The timing of the person who attacked was simply too vicious. When the sword light arrived, Hu Hai still did not know what to do. Xiao Chen's face sank. It looked like Hu Hai was not a heartless person. However, Hu Hai still did not make a decision. Not only would Hu Hai die, but he would also harm the others. The lips of the person who attacked curled up in a cocky smile. He had not expected this sword strike to be so effective. As long as Hu Hai did not make a decision, this sword strike would be able to finish off the people of their faction. Bang! In the time it took for a spark to fly, Xiao Chen, who stood in the air on the blue dragon image, arrived beside Hu Hai. Xiao Chen circulated his quintessence and did something that no one expected. He sent out a palm strike and smashed it on Hu Hai's body. A surging energy surged out. Hu Hai's palm strike sent Hu Hai flying. Coincidentally, the sword light brushed past Hu Hai, saving his life. Jun Si and the other two opened their mouths slightly, wanting to say something. However, they did not dare to. At this moment, the golden savage ox was struggling with all its might. If they were not careful, they would be flung into the air and face the rage of the golden savage ox. When Xiao Chen saw the wound on the golden savage ox's neck, his expression turned grave. He knew he had to make a move. Otherwise, if Jun Si and the other two ran out of quintessence, only death awaited them. Xiao Chen stretched his left hand to the sky and summoned out the lunar shadow saber from the universe ring. Then, he grasped the saber hilt tightly. His quintessence surged, and a vast sea appeared behind him. The blue sea surged, vast and boundless. Then, 999 pillars of water soared into the sky. Xiao Chen drew the lunar shadow saber at lightning speed. When the blue dragon leaped out of the sea, the mountains and rivers shattered, and the water flowed in reverse. When the blue dragon appeared, it infused itself into the saber, forming a 3-kilometer-long light that pointed to the sky and stood on the ground. However, this was not enough. He could not chop off the ox's head in one strike. Xiao Chen understood the difference in quintessence between him and Hu Hai. Xiao Chen's perfect 60% comprehended saber intent bound the 3-kilometer-long saber light, turning it into a 300-meter-long but denser and sharper dragon-shaped saber light. When the golden savage ox below felt the danger of death, it struggled even more intensely. Its back thrashed wildly, and Junsi vomited a mouthful of blood as she was flung back. When the balance was broken, Wang Cheng and Chen Xiao could not withstand the force. They both vomited large mouthfuls of blood and were flung back by the ferocious force from their weapons. Chapter 686. The golden savage ox broke free of its shackles and regained its freedom. Ka Xie. Just as the golden savage ox was about to start a massacre, Xiao Chen materialized a 300-meter-long blue dragon and swung his saber. Instantly, blood splattered like a waterfall, dyeing Xiao Chen's white robes red. The huge ox's head flew into the air. Its eyes were wide open as it died with a grievance. The owner of that sword light had just turned around when he saw this inconceivable scene. His brain short-circuited. Just a moment ago, the situation was filled with danger. How did the golden savage ox die just like that? Hu Hai recovered his wits and roared ferociously. Then, he swung his axe at the swordsman. The swordsman blocked in a fluster and was sent flying by Hu Hai, fleeing in a sorry state. Hu Hai hated this swordsman to the bone. He did not want to let him off. His figure flashed as he gave chase. Bang! The golden savage ox's corpse fell to the ground with a loud sound. The ground trembled violently for a while before it slowly calmed down. The terrain of the gourd-shaped valley was completely destroyed. The ground was riddled with holes, either ravines or deep holes. The surrounding cliffs had also collapsed beyond recognition. A wind blew from the mouth of the valley. The dilapidated valley was quiet. Junsi and the other two had just escaped from the tiger's mouth. When they saw the golden savage ox's corpse, then the blood-stained white-robed Xiao Chen, their eyes filled with incredulity. The insignificant inner sect disciple Xiao Chen had shocked them once again, turning the tide. Earlier, Xiao Chen had been using his physical body to fight. His stunning performance made them forget that Xiao Chen was a bladesman. The instant he drew his saber, they understood that compared to his physical body and movement techniques, Xiao Chen's saber techniques were the most powerful. At this moment, they understood that although Xiao Chen's cultivation was low and his combat prowess was weaker than theirs, it was not that much weaker. Junior brother Xiao, we really have to thank you this time. Junsi stopped thinking and pulled out her weapon from the golden savage ox's body. Then, she smiled at Xiao Chen. Chen Xiao laughed and said, "How could someone I recommend disappoint everyone? Let's take a break first. When senior brother Hu returns, we will split this golden savage ox. This fellow's entire body is a treasure." Only Wang Cheng remained silent. He glanced at Xiao Chen and had a vague feeling that Xiao Chen had not used his full strength when he had exchanged blows with him that day. Xiao Chen knew that once he revealed his true strength, it was inevitable that people would think of him as a rival. However, the situation was urgent at that time, so he couldn't care too much. He didn't regret it now. An hour later. Damn it, that guy still got away. A strong wind blew, and Hu Hai's figure appeared in front of everyone from the valley entrance. However, Hu Hai's face was full of smiles. He did not look dejected at all. He walked in front of Xiao Chen, patted Xiao Chen's shoulder heavily, and said with a smile, "Don't say anything. This time, you saved my life. You saved our lives. You even helped us obtain the right to enter the savage battlefield. You will get 30% of the harvest this time, and you will have priority in choosing. Does anyone have any objections?" Junsi smiled and said, "No objections." Chen Xiao did not care. He said, "It's fine. It is what it should be." He made a move at the two crucial moments. "I have no objections either." When Wang Cheng saw the situation, he shook his head to indicate that he had no objections. The golden savage ox contained the bloodline of an ancient savage beast. Furthermore, it was a peak rank 8 spirit beast. Its entire body was a treasure. Naturally, the most valuable part was its spirit core. Its effects went without saying. It could directly raise a cultivator's cultivation. Furthermore, it did not have any side effects, even better than a rank 9 medicinal pill. Next was the pair of golden horns on its head. Those golden horns were even harder than frost iron. They could be polished into a high-ranked spirit weapon or ground into powder to refine a peak-grade medicinal pill. The golden hooves on the golden savage ox's 4 limbs were rather valuable as well. They contained a special flame, an essential material for forging secret treasures. The marrow hidden in the golden savage ox's spine contained a dense savage beast bloodline. It would be of great help to a body-tempering cultivator. There was also the 10-meter-long golden savage ox's tail. With some refinement, it could be forged into a golden ox-tail whip. Cultivators who used whips could sell it for a sky-high price. Aside from these, the golden savage ox's hide, bones, tendons, beef, and blood were valuable as well. However, they could not compare to the other items. 4 hours later, Hu-Hai, who had completely dismembered the golden savage ox, picked up a piece of the golden savage ox's horn as proof of handing it to his first senior sister, Shui Lingling. Then, he pointed to the most valuable materials and said to Xiao Chen, "Junior brother Xiao, you choose first." "You can choose too." The golden savage ox's horn, the golden savage ox's spirit core, the golden savage ox's tail, and the savage beast's blood were all invaluable. They tempted Xiao Chen greatly. However, Xiao Chen could only choose 2. He had to make his choice carefully. First, he eliminated the most valuable savage ox's spirit core. Actually, right now, Xiao Chen's cultivation was rather low. What he lacked the most were natural treasures. However, the human heart was hard to fathom. Although Hu-Hai said that he would get 30% and would have the right to choose first, if Xiao Chen did not only take 2 treasures, he would also take the most precious too. It would be hard to avoid people feeling dissatisfied. They would think that a medial-grade martial monarch like him was too greedy. After eliminating the savage ox's spirit core, Xiao Chen chose the savage beast's blood and the golden savage ox's horn. The former could strengthen his physical body further, and the latter could be used in the life bestowal spell, giving him another trump card. To others, these were not very useful treasures, so they would not hold any grudges. Seeing Xiao Chen make his choice, Hu-Hai praised him in his heart. Even when faced with such temptation, Xiao Chen could still choose. It was rare to see someone of Xiao Chen's character among the youths. "As for the remaining 3, each of you can choose one." "I do not need them," Hu-Hai said with a gentle smile. Indeed, Hu-Hai did not need them. He was already a late-stage superior-grade martial monarch. It would be difficult for him to rely on external items to increase his cultivation. As a true inheritor with the authority to recruit others, Hu-Hai did not lack spirit stones. Since he could not use them, he could not be bothered to choose. Hu-Hai only had one goal: to enter the savage battlefield and see if he could run into any fortuitous encounters that could help him advance to half-sage. The 3 of them decided on the savage ox's hoof, Wang Cheng's spirit core, and Chen Zhao's golden savage ox's tail. They all took what they needed. As for the remaining miscellaneous items, the other 4 did not care for them. Xiao Chen smiled gently and placed them all in his universe ring. The golden savage ox could be used as rations. As for the other items, they could sell them for a large sum of spirit stones. It would be a waste not to take them. After dividing up the treasures, Hu-Hai no longer hesitated. He laughed boldly and said, "Let's go. That Hua Tianhe will not expect us to kill the golden savage ox in 5 days. I want to see his expression when he sees it." So. In a corner of the savage beast forest, a 10-meter-tall but exceptionally nimble white monkey moved about among the towering trees. As the monkey leaped about, only afterimages could be seen in the air. Soon, it was left with only one arm. Occasionally, it would gently pull on the tree trunk and curl up into a ball, moving 500 or 600 meters in the air. The white monkey was called Spirit Fire Monkey. It lived in groups and had a fixed range of activity in the savage beast forest. Unlike ordinary monkeys, these monkeys had violent blood flowing in their veins. They liked to eat meat and brains. This was especially so for the brains of human cultivators. Furthermore, they were very intelligent and knew all sorts of tactics that only humans could use. Spirit fire monkeys would often learn these tactics and use them on human cultivators. They were one of the spirit beasts that human cultivators did not want to run into. Based on the monkey's height, it was a spirit fire monkey king, a tyrant of the savage beast forest. However, it had lost its position and was chased out of the tribe by the new monkey king. However, today, this spirit fire monkey king, which normally trembled in fear, was being chased by others into fleeing in a sorry state. Half of the true inheritors of the Haotian sect surrounded this monkey a few times and finally chopped off its arm. They used the rules of the spirit fire monkey tribe to force it out of the tribe and kill it. In several different directions around the white monkey, there were 4 young men with sullen expressions. It shuttled swiftly through the forest. It seemed like it would be a little difficult to stop this white monkey that only had 1 arm left. This monkey was too crafty. It knew how powerful Hua Tianhe and the others were and did not want to fight them. The moment it saw any one of the 4, it immediately fled. Pu Ci. Hua Tianhe, who was in hot pursuit, suddenly sent out a dense sword qi. The sharp sword qi was more than 60 meters long and chopped down a row of towering trees in a certain direction in front of the white monkey. Boom! 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 The sound of trees falling came from the forest. However, the white monkey looked around and chose to flee in the direction of the falling trees. Its long and thin legs gently pushed off the tree trunk and turned into a white shadow moving forward. The trees fell behind the white shadow. By the time all the trees fell, the white monkey could no longer be seen. Xiao! 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 In the forest, a few figures emerged from different directions and gathered together. If the white monkey had not chosen the direction of the falling trees, it would have been forced back and completely surrounded. Damn it! We let this monkey escape again. After another failed encirclement, a true inheritor could not help cursing in a low voice. Another person added, "This monkey is too crafty. It keeps leading us in circles. We nearly got lured into the territory of spirit beasts a few times." Hua Tianhe frowned heavily, but he did not feel too dejected. He said, "It knows how powerful it is and does not dare to enter the core region of the savage beast forest. There are rank 9 spirit beasts, rank 10 spirit beasts, and even existences that surpass rank 10 spirit beasts. As long as it does not enter the core region, it is only a matter of time before we surround it and kill it. We are much safer than Hu Hai and the others." Whoosh! Whoosh! Suddenly, footsteps came from the forest. Everyone's expressions turned grave as they quickly assumed combat stances. Hua Tianhe looked over and smiled. "There is no need to be nervous. It is junior brother Yan. That group of people will probably return in defeat. They will not be able to recover for at least half a month." 10 minutes later, Yen Tao appeared before the group in a sorry state with a few wounds on his body. A bad premonition rose in Hua Tianhe's heart. He asked, "Based on the axe wounds on your body, did Hu Hai do it?" Yen Tao did not dare to meet Hua Tianhe's eyes. He nodded and whispered, "They killed the golden savage ox and are preparing to return to Haotian City." "How can that be? It has only been 5 days." The 3 people behind Hua Tianhe exclaimed in shock, their expressions changing. Chapter 687. Hua Tianhe's expression changed as he said, "What exactly happened? Tell me everything in detail." After hearing Yen Tao's account, Hua Tianhe punched a tree beside him. His expression turned cold as he said, "I just knew that this brat would spoil our plans. He is really bold. Senior brother Hua, what should we do now?" Are we still going to chase after the flame spirit? Someone asked. Hua Tianhe smiled coldly and said, is there a need? Block them and kill that brat. I'll take responsibility for anything. I have to go to the savage battlefield no matter what. Hua Tianhe stretched out his hand, and a snake-shaped puppet flew out of his universe ring. The snake-shaped puppet slowly grew larger, eventually becoming a 100-meter-long ferocious snake as thick as a water bucket. A large door opened at the snake's belly. After the group entered, the door retracted. The black snake-shaped puppet dug its head into the ground, kicking up a cloud of dust. Soon, its entire body sank into the soil. It was late at night and a sinister wind blew. Occasionally, one could hear terrifying roars in the dark forest. Xiao Chen lay on a tree trunk and took out an exquisite carving knife. Then, he slowly carved a golden ox horn, carving out a golden savage ox. The hardness of the golden ox horn far surpassed Xiao Chen's expectations. He had to circulate his quintessence at full power every time he carved. Furthermore, he had to be completely focused. After carving for 3 nights, he finally managed to complete it. As Xiao Chen looked at the exquisite golden savage ox, he smiled faintly, revealing a satisfied expression. Xiao Chen clearly recognized the person who made a move that day. It was someone from Hua Tianhe's faction. The soul-stirring battle between the two factions made him feel a strong sense of urgency. Xiao Chen was afraid of becoming a sacrifice in the battle between the two factions. If they fought, the other party would definitely target him first. This was a very simple principle. If it were Xiao Chen, he would do the same. Everyone would choose the weaker person first, dealing with a problem first. At that time, Hu Hai and the others might not be able to protect Xiao Chen. He had to control his own fate. The more trump cards he had, the safer he would feel. This golden savage bull would be his new trump card. Xiao Chen cut his fingertip with the carving knife and dripped a drop of his soul blood that contained his divine sense origin into the knife. As the blood slowly seeped into the statue, the mental energy in Xiao Chen's sea of consciousness drained continuously. After 2/3 of the mental energy drained, the golden savage ox statue gave off a faint light before stopping. Feeling slightly dizzy, Xiao Chen closed his eyes and patted his forehead. Then, he opened his eyes and looked at the sculpture in his palm. He muttered to himself, trying to materialize a spirit beast at the level of the golden savage bull is too taxing on my mental energy. If I really use it, the consumption will be even greater. The golden savage ox was a peak rank 8 spirit beast. It was as strong as a late-stage superior grade martial monarch. It far surpassed Xiao Chen's strength and would not last long. Junior brother Xiao, it's my turn to keep watch. You can go now. Under the tree, Jun Si emerged from the campsite and spoke softly to Xiao Chen. After putting away the golden savage ox statue, Xiao Chen got up and jumped down. After saying goodbye to Jun Si, he returned to his tent. As Jun Si watched Xiao Chen leave, she muttered, the longer I interact with this little junior brother, the more unfathomable he is. When the sun rose high in the sky, it was a peaceful night. Everyone emerged from their tents in high spirits and washed up. Hu Hai said, let's travel at full speed today. I'll lead the way. Let's try to leave Savage Forest before sunset, lest anything unexpected happens. The group was in high spirits, all of them responding with high morale. They hated that they could not rush to Haotian City immediately and deliver the golden savage ox horn to their first senior sister, Shui Lingling. Since this was the last stretch of the journey, Hu Hai did not intend to hold back. He directly spread out his aura, and when the spirit beasts sensed it, they ran far away. If they ran into a spirit beast that did not know what to do, they could easily kill it if they worked together. As true inheritors of the Haotian sect of the 9 ranks of the great families, Hu Hai and the others lived up to their reputation. Aside from those overlord-class spirit beasts, no spirit beast could stop them for long. Boom! Just as the group was less than 2 kilometers away from the exit, the flat ground exploded without any warning. A black-skinned snake emerged and looked at the group coldly. Hu Hai's expression changed. He said sullenly, retreat. This is Hua Tianhe's puppet snake. When Xiao Chen heard this, he took a few more steps back without batting an eyelid. The thing that he worried about the most still happened. Ka Xie. A door under the snake's belly opened. Hua Tianhe jumped down expressionlessly with 4 people radiating a strong killing qi. Hua Tianhe, what are you trying to do? Hu Hai shouted angrily as he drew his huge axe when he saw that the group's aura was not right. Hua Tianhe smiled sinisterly and sent a voice projection to the people behind him. Don't waste your breath on him. Find that brat first and kill him. Then, snatch the golden ox horn. The group looked around, preparing to attack the moment they saw Xiao Chen. However, when they looked around, they could not help but be astonished. They could not find Xiao Chen at all. Xiao Chen stood on the trunk of a towering tree and looked down from above. When he saw how the few of them were looking around, he guessed what they were planning. Life bestowal spell. Xiao Chen smiled coldly and formed hand seals. Then, he tossed the golden ox sculpture towards Hua Tianhe and the others. Hua Tianhe's expression changed slightly. He felt it was strange. Why did I not find that white-robed brat? Originally, there was nothing to lose. However, because of Xiao Chen's appearance, Hu Hai immediately surpassed them. Hua Tianhe's group's hatred for Xiao Chen was easy to imagine. The benefits that were in their hands flew away just like that. Originally, the true inheritors had been prepared to attack with all their might and kill Xiao Chen. However, when they arrived, they could not find Xiao Chen. Hua Tianhe's killing qi had nowhere to vent, so he felt extremely depressed. He shouted angrily, Hu Hai, hand over that white-robed brat and the golden ox horn. Otherwise, don't blame me for. Before Hu Hai could finish speaking, a shadow suddenly appeared under their feet. When Hua Tianhe and the others looked up, their expressions changed drastically, horror filling their eyes. Up in the sky, a golden bull grew larger and larger as it descended towards them. Rumble. The 40-meter-tall golden savage ox was as large as a small hill as it descended from the sky. By the time the group looked up, the golden savage ox had already completely formed. Due to the gravitational pull, the golden savage ox fell in the blink of an eye. The golden savage ox's huge body crushed the towering trees in the surroundings. The 5 people on the ground bore the brunt of the impact. They all vomited a mouthful of blood as the golden savage ox's abdomen pressed them into the ground. Even breathing became extremely difficult for them. Several of their ribs were even broken. Buried in the ground, the 5 used all their quintessence to push against the golden savage ox's trunk. However, it was useless. Instead, it made them feel even more uncomfortable. Hu Hai and the others were startled. They could not understand why another golden savage ox would descend from the sky. They all retreated far away. All of them looked at the golden savage ox cautiously. After dealing with the golden savage ox for so long, they knew very well how powerful it was. Let's go around it. Don't get involved with this fellow. Hu Hai immediately made a decision. The appearance of this golden savage ox was too illogical. Even the word strange could not describe it. The other 3 nodded. They felt that there was no need to take the risk. They all executed their movement techniques and quickly left this place. Xiao Chen, who was on the tree branch, watched as Hu Hai and the other 2 left. He muttered to himself for a while before forming a hand seal. The golden savage ox pressing down on Hua Tianhe's 5 turned into a beam of golden light and returned to Xiao Chen's hand. Xiao Chen stretched out his hand and grasped the golden statue once more. Then, he looked at the 5 buried deep in the ground, deep in thought. Hua Tianhe's 5 coughed intensely a few times. Then, they endured the pain and crawled out of the ground. Their pale faces were filled with confusion, they did not know what happened. Yun Feiyu wiped off the blood at the corner of his lips and looked around. Then, he said, what happened earlier? Why did I feel like a mountain fell from the sky? Hua Tianhe checked his internal injuries and found that more than a dozen of his ribs were broken. His internal organs were also damaged to varying degrees. When Hua Tianhe thought about what happened earlier, He felt a chill run down his spine, and his heart palpitated. If not for their dense quintessence, the huge object pressing down would have crushed them into meat paste. Let's go. Let's leave this place quickly. There is something strange about this place, Hua Tianhe said to the other four after he got up with much difficulty. Bang! Just at this moment, another shadow appeared above them. Without any warning, a golden savage ox fell from the sky and pressed the four into the ground again. The five grunted and fainted from the pain. They did not know what had happened. Xiao Chen jumped down from the tree. If it was possible, he would like to take this opportunity to kill all of them and settle this grudge. However, the true inheritors of the sect all had the sect's life-saving measures in their bodies. The risk was simply too great. The loss would easily outweigh the gain. Xiao Chen looked around and noticed the 300-meter-tall puppet snake beside him. A look of interest flashed in his eyes. Quickly walking over, Xiao Chen entered the puppet snake. Then, he sent his spiritual sense into the puppet snake's formation. His strong mental energy quickly removed the spiritual mark that Hua Tianhe left behind. Then, he left his spiritual mark on the puppet snake. After controlling it for a while, the puppet snake shrank several times before returning to Xiao Chen's universe ring. I'll collect some interest first. When I officially become a true inheritor, I will come and seek trouble for you. With a wave of his hand, the golden savage ox turned back into a beam of golden light and landed in Xiao Chen's hand. As he held the golden wooden sculpture in his right hand, Xiao Chen's body suddenly shook. He nearly fell to the ground. I have exhausted too much mental energy. I have to leave quickly, Xiao Chen thought to himself. Then, he looked in the direction that Hu Hai and the others left in and quickly gave chase. Hu Hai and the others were afraid that the golden savage ox would go berserk again. So, they ran frantically towards the entrance of the forest. Wait a moment. Did you see junior brother Xiao Chen? Jun Si suddenly asked. The three of them turned around and could not help but show strange expressions. They had thought that Xiao Chen had followed them. Now, they discovered that Xiao Chen had not followed them at all. Senior sister June, I'm here. Xiao Chen's voice came from behind. After a few breaths, Xiao Chen appeared before them with a pale complexion. Chapter 688. Wang Cheng asked suspiciously, Junior brother Xiao, where did you go earlier? Hu Hai thought about it. He thought about how Hua Tianhe and the others had looked around earlier and guessed why Xiao Chen had avoided them. Hu Hai smiled gently and said, there is no need to ask about this. I know where junior brother Xiao went. Let's go. This place is rather strange today. Let's leave first. At the same time, Hu Hai sent a voice projection to Xiao Chen, junior brother Xiao, don't worry. When we return, I will explain this matter to first senior sister. No matter what, Hua Tianhe will not dare to go against her wishes. Xiao Chen nodded slightly to express his gratitude. However, he knew that this grudge would be difficult to resolve. One had to grasp their fate in their own hands. Making themselves stronger was the foundation of everything. After the group exited the forest, intense sunlight shone down. As they breathed in the fresh air and looked at the blazing sun, they all smiled gently. They knew that there would not be any more surprises in this mission. The qualifications to enter the savage battlefield belonged to them. Ha ha ha. This is great. We finally defeated Hua Tianhe and the others once. Hu Hai laughed loudly and took the lead to walk forward. However, just at this moment, the sunny sky suddenly turned gloomy. Dark clouds gathered in the surroundings, churning. The cultivators at the entrance and the bustling market not far away all stopped what they were doing and looked up at the sky. The bustling world suddenly turned quiet. Xiao Chen looked up and saw the churning dark clouds growing darker. The sky for 5,000 kilometers around seemed to have turned into a pitch-black lake. At this moment, even a fool could tell that something was wrong. Boom! 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 The flustered roars of countless spirit beasts resounded in the forest. The entire ground seemed to move. Footsteps came from the forest as several spirit beasts ran out of the forest. Damn it! It's a demonic calamity. The surrounding cultivators suddenly reacted, and a look of horror flashed across their faces. Then, they ran away madly, and the whole scene was in chaos. The market, which was still bustling with people just a moment ago, was completely emptied in just a moment. Not a single person could be seen. However, the expressions of June C. and the others did not change much. They were not unfamiliar with this demonic tribulation. They only felt suspicious. Strange, this is not the time for the demonic god blood sacrifice. Why is there a demonic tribulation? Hu Hai said calmly, this should not be a true demonic calamity. It is just an ordinary spatial storm. Let's go. We will not return to Haotian City for now. We will go to Spirit Water City in front. Wang Cheng said somewhat disapprovingly, there is a branch of the Haotian sect in Spirit Water City. There is also a martial sage guarding there. There is no need for us. Handing the proof to first senior sister first is more important. However, Hu Hai was very insistent. He summoned out the steel warship and said, you cannot say that. As true inheritors of the sect, how can we sit back and do nothing? Regardless of whether it's a demonic calamity or not, just the appearance of the spirit beasts is enough to make people panic. There's also the possibility of demonic beasts and demonic humans appearing. They're both big problems. If Spirit Water City falls, there will be at least 1 million casualties. Boom, boom, boom. As they spoke, the sky turned increasingly frightening. Bolts of black lightning struck down, making the sky look like it was the end of the world. Countless spirit beasts of all sorts could be seen rushing out from the savage beast forest behind them. The group did not say anything more and quickly boarded the steel warship. The steel warship had just taken off when a dense horde of flying spirit beasts flew out from the savage beast forest. The overwhelming number of flying spirit beasts flew over like a rain of arrows. In an instant, they engulfed the steel warship. Boom! 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 A blue barrier appeared on the surface of the warship. Under the attacks of the countless spirit beasts, the warship crashed everywhere in the air. The group on the warship swayed left and right, feeling dizzy. Hu Hai stomped heavily on the deck, and a huge force spread out. The flying spirit beasts near the warship immediately died. Junior sister June, help me fill up the ship with spirit stones. We need to rush out, Hu Hai said with a grave expression. June C understood the urgency of the situation. She quickly entered the warship's hold and quickly filled up the ship with a large pile of superior-grade spirit stones. Hu Hai laughed loudly and gently patted the railing. Ka Xie. Ka Xie. Some springs in the warship opened, and huge, sharp, double-edged swords appeared on the sides, front, and back of the warship. At this moment, the black steel warship turned into a ferocious beast bearing its fangs. Hu Hai doubled his speed, reaching Mach 8 as he charged forward. Pu Ci. Pu Ci. The warship moved as fast as lightning. The impact it gave off directly tore the flying spirit beasts in front in half. As the warship moved forward, it left behind a red light made of blood. The steel warship finally charged out at an extremely fast speed, leaving the flying spirit beasts far behind. The dark sky reappeared in the group's vision. The danger was resolved for now. Xiao Chen looked down. The ground was filled with people fleeing for their lives. It was a dense mass of people, looking extremely flustered. There were also many warships with the Haotian sect's insignia parked around, receiving these ordinary citizens. However, there were too few warships and too many people. Clearly, there were not enough people. The crowd was filled with panic. Xiao Chen looked behind him into the distance. He extended his spiritual sense to the limit and discovered that several villages and small towns were in a sorry state. There were many villages and towns that were in shambles, and there were many corpses lying on the ground. Xiao Chen was flabbergasted. As he looked at the black clouds in the sky, he asked doubtfully, "What's going on?" The others exchanged glances. Chen Xiao sighed and said, "This is a spatial storm from the demonic world. Regardless of whether there will be a demonic calamity or not, there will be demonic qi leaking out. These spirit beasts are panicking and only want to leave." "Junior brother Xiao Chen, do you know how demonic beasts are formed?" "They are formed after being infected by demonic qi. Aside from rank 8 spirit beasts, regular spirit beasts would find it hard to resist the infection of demonic qi." Xiao Chen nodded and asked, "What is a demonic calamity?" "From what you all said, it sounds very horrifying." Chen Zhao's expression turned grave as he said, "A demonic calamity is a sword hanging over the heads of the entire Kunlun realm. The 18 demonic realms perform a blood sacrifice for the demonic god. They invade the Kunlun realm every 500 years. Every time, they will harvest the blood of at least 100 million cultivators." Xiao Chen's expression changed slightly. He noticed that Chen Xiao was talking about cultivators and not ordinary citizens. The Kunlun realm was very vast. The population of the various races exceeded 100 billion. Just the Tianwu domain alone was several times the size of the Tianwu continent. The number of people was easy to imagine. However, the number of cultivators was relatively small. If the Kunlun realm wanted to kill 100 million cultivators, at least 10 times that number of ordinary citizens would die. This was not a numbers game. Xiao Chen simulated that scene in his mind. His mind was filled with mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Just thinking about it made him tremble in fear. It was hard to imagine that the incredibly strong Kunlun realm, where martial emperors formed, would encounter such a calamity. This is a death calamity for both sides. If we do not kill the Kunlun realm's cultivators, we will have to kill the demonic world's cultivators. Otherwise, the demonic god will rage and replace all 18 demon monarchs." Chen Xiao continued, "Aside from the demonic god blood sacrifice, some demon race experts will occasionally come to the Kunlun realm to plunder for the sake of cultivating evil cultivation techniques." When Hu Hai heard this, he smiled and said, "Junior brother Xiao Chen, don't listen to his scary words. We are still far from the demonic calamity every 500 years. The Haotian province also has our Haotian emperor. No demon race experts will be blind enough to come and make trouble for us. This time, it is just a spatial storm. That is, the spatial crystal walls of the Kunlun realm and the demonic world clashing. This happens occasionally. At most, some demonic beasts of the demonic world will be dragged down." Xiao Chen gained a rough understanding of the situation and felt more confident. He said softly, "It is just that these ordinary citizens are suffering for no reason." Hu Hai's expression turned grave as well. He sighed and said, "This is unavoidable." However, the Haotian sect's branch in Spirit Water City should have already sent experts to block the spirit beasts. Let's quickly go to Spirit Water City. These spirit beasts demonized and the demonic beasts that will appear later are the most horrifying. Once Spirit Water City falls, the millions of people fleeing nearby will find it hard to escape death. 1 hour later, a majestic city appeared before the group's eyes. They could see long lines of people waiting to enter the city through the city gates. A large number of magic energy cannons were lined up on the city walls, looking very intimidating. Hu Hai swept his gaze across the city walls and fixed his gaze on the city gates in front. Many Haotian sect disciples stood on the city walls with their identity medallions hanging at their waists. At this moment, the soldiers who normally maintained law and order could no longer deal with the situation. The Haotian sect's branch in the city was in charge of all the defenses. Hu Hai gently waved his sleeves and withdrew the steel warship into them. Then, the 5 of them gently floated down and landed on the city walls. "Who is the person in charge of this place?" "I am the true inheritor of the Haotian sect, Hu Hai." Hu Hai took out his identity medallion and spoke to the 100 Haotian sect disciples in front of him. His tone contained a faint might. A gray-robed old man with a deep cultivation revealed an expression of joy. He stepped forward and said, "This old man is Bai Ao, the branch master of this place." Spirit Water City was not one of the 9 main cities of the Haotian prefecture. Hence, the branch master could not mobilize experts from the Haotian prefecture's headquarters in an instant. Naturally, the old man rejoiced, feeling more confident. Xiao Chen thought to himself, Hu Hai's position in the sect is really high. This old man before me is a peak late-stage superior-grade martial monarch. However, he is still so respectful to Hu Hai. Where is the elder guarding the city? Hu Hai asked with a slight frown. For a big city like Spirit Water City, the Haotian sect would normally arrange for a martial sage cultivator to be the elder guarding the city. Hu Hai felt somewhat angry that he did not see the elder guarding the city during this calamity. Bai Ao quickly explained, the elder guarding the city sensed the demonic calamity the instant it appeared. He is now at the front lines, blocking the beast horde coming out of the savage beast forest by himself. Hu Hai's expression relaxed slightly. He said, gather all the disciples who are martial kings and above. Perhaps we can use a large sum of money to recruit the cultivators who came to the city to escape. Hu Hai was very experienced in defending a city. With a few words, he managed to stabilize the situation. This calmed some of the flustered disciples who had never seen the world before. When Xiao Chen saw this, he felt admiration for Hu Hai. He would not be able to do these things well. Even if the others were capable, they would not have the sense of responsibility. Chapter 689. Take Wang Cheng for example. Initially, he had even suggested not caring about these people's lives and asking them to hand in the proof of completion first. Chen Xiao stood beside Xiao Chen. When he saw that Xiao Chen's expression was not good, he consoled him with a smile. Junior brother Xiao Chen, don't worry too much. Although the damage caused by this spatial storm is great, it will not last for long. The crack will close automatically. With our cultivations, we will not be in any danger. Xiao Chen's unsightly expression was not because of this. Instead, it was because he had used too much mental energy to control the golden savage ox twice in a row. However, Xiao Chen only smiled faintly at Chen Zhao's consolation. He could not say anything more. Under Hu Hai's command, the sect disciples and the passing cultivators all gathered at the top of the city wall. With a rough count, there were at least 5,000 martial kings. However, there were fewer martial monarchs. When Hu Hai singled them out, there were only 200 of them. Jun Si walked over and asked, Senior brother, are these enough? Hu Hai frowned slightly and said softly, under normal circumstances, it should be enough to last until the main force from the headquarters arrives. However, if there are too many rank 8 demonic beasts, it will be problematic. When the many disciples at the top of the city wall saw 4 true inheritors, they became more optimistic. They did not show much danger on their faces. True inheritors were not only dignified in status but also represented that they each possessed a heaven-ranked martial technique. In a large-scale battle, they could bring out the might of the heaven-ranked martial technique to its limits. With 4 true inheritors here, they could deal with hundreds of martial monarchs. This made everyone feel more at ease. Hu Hai's face sank. He looked at the sky and said, the spatial crack is about to open. Everyone, be careful. When Xiao Chen heard this, he looked up and saw hundreds of black lightning flashing in the center of the black clouds for millions of kilometers. A whirlpool-shaped spatial crack slowly appeared. In an instant, an endless amount of black demonic chi gushed out from the vortex in all directions. When the crack completely widened, the black demonic chi within the vortex spread out in all directions. When the spatial crack opened completely, thousands upon thousands of black hailstones shot out like cannonballs. When Xiao Chen looked up, he discovered that these hailstones looked very small from afar. They were all huge demonic beasts with scarlet eyes and black scales covering their bodies. They looked very ruthless. Boom, boom, boom. The demonic world's demonic beasts landed on the ground like cannonballs, blasting out deep pits. The people and cultivators who could not make it to the city gates in time died. They were immediately massacred. Magical beasts were different from demonic beasts and spirit beasts. They were ferocious beasts native to the demon realm. They had different sizes, but their bodies were covered with shiny black scales. They seemed to be extraordinarily hard, and their sharp claws glowed with a piercing cold light. With a casual swipe, they tore the surrounding populace that was fleeing in panic into two, and it was an extremely cruel sight. The city gates were closed, and the fate of these ordinary citizens who could not enter the city in time could not be changed. One by one, their lives disappeared before Xiao Chen's eyes. Fortunately, they only had to face attacks from one direction. The other gates were not attacked. When Hu Hai saw the demonic beasts raining down from the sky, he heaved a sigh of relief. He said, "Fortunately, they are just ordinary soldiers. Elder Bai, prepare to fire the ancient demonic energy cannons." Bai Ao nodded lightly and instructed the cannoneers hidden on top of the city wall to get ready. A moment later, the hidden magic energy cannons in the city walls burst out with a sinister light. Thousands of light beams interweaved to form a curtain of death, blasting the magic beasts that fell down into pieces. Boom! 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 Blood rained down from the sky. After a few rounds of massacres, the number of magic beasts that fell to the ground had decreased by more than 50%. However, their numbers were still horrifying. There were at least 100,000 magic beasts. As they ran and roared, they were like a huge army surging towards the city walls. The ancient demonic energy cannons needed to be loaded with spirit stones. There was always a gap between the cannons and the cannons. They were not omnipotent. Defending the city walls still depended on the 5,000 martial kings that had gathered at the last minute. When the cultivators saw the black mass of demonic beasts, they had never seen such a formation before. Their hearts trembled slightly, and their right hands, which held their weapons, trembled uncontrollably. When Xiao Qin saw this, he frowned slightly. However, he could not say anything about it. It had only been 4 hours since the appearance of the black clouds. The Haotian sect had too little time to prepare. Such a performance was already very good. If it were another rank 8 or rank 7 sect, all the cultivators would have abandoned the city long ago. They would not care about the lives of the ordinary citizens. A demonic beast with a face like that of an orangutan walked upright. Its back was covered in spikes, and its body was covered in black scales. Suddenly, it nimbly leaped over the city walls and appeared before the crowd. There was an explosion, and blood and flesh splattered. Hu Hai expressionlessly punched and exploded the demonic beast's head. He said coldly, "Prepare for battle. Without my orders, no one is allowed to retreat. Otherwise, they will be killed without mercy." After this orangutan demonic beast ascended the city walls, demonic beasts continuously surged over, launching themselves at anyone they saw. Xiao Qin guarded a spot alone. His figure flashed as he executed the dragon claw fist. As his vital chi surged, he punched all the demonic beasts that pounced at him, exploding them. After a while, Xiao Qin discovered that the demonic beasts were indeed as Hu Hai said, they were just a bunch of random soldiers. Aside from their advantage in numbers, there was nothing too scary about them. Xiao Qin started to conserve his vital chi, using only 400,000 kilograms of force to face the enemy. The others also discovered this. They felt that the demonic beasts were not as horrifying as they imagined. Their expressions slowly turned excited. As the demonic beasts circulated their quintessence, they killed the demonic beasts flying over like they were chopping vegetables. When Hu Hai saw this, he quickly reminded these people to conserve their quintessence. However, the cultivators on the city walls were so focused on killing that they forgot themselves. Killing chi filled their eyes. Some of them were not Haotian sect disciples in the first place, so they did not listen to Hu Hai's words at all. Black clouds churned, and there was no light for 500 kilometers around. The sky seemed to press down. In the dark sky, demonic beasts rained down endlessly like hail. As the ancient demonic energy cannons fired, a scarlet light spread out. The pungent smell of blood permeated the air. When one looked around, there was a red haze everywhere. The ground was riddled with holes and ravines. The corpses of demonic beasts and humans were strewn all over the place. The entire place looked like hell. It was hard to imagine that 6 hours ago, this place was still the Kunlun realm with overwhelming spiritual energy, bright sunlight and fresh air. The many disciples on the city walls, who had been killing the demonic beasts effortlessly, slowly turned red. As they brandished their weapons, their movements became somewhat stiff. There were too many. There were too many spirit beasts climbing up from below. Furthermore, they came in an endless stream, not stopping for even a moment. After killing one batch, another batch would come. Even though it was an easy movement, after repeating it 1,000 times, one's arm would naturally feel sore. The more serious problem was that their quintessence could not keep up. In the intense battle, they could not find time to recover their quintessence. "Senior brother Hu, we can't hold on much longer," someone finally said to Hu Hai, unable to resist. Hu Hai had expected this. He shook his head slightly and said, "Jun Si, Wang Cheng, Chen Xiao, and Xiao Chen, follow me and charge down." The 5 were very strong. Their quintessence was vast, and their strength was still present. With a wave of attacks, they eliminated all the demonic beasts on the city walls. Before new demonic beasts could charge up, they leaped down from the city walls and executed a heaven-ranked martial technique each. Sword unfurling plum blossom. 7 stars surrounding the moon. Heaven and earth sword heart. Heaven breaking axe chop. Blue dragon goes to sea. 5 tyrannical heaven-ranked martial techniques swept through the city like a strong wind. As the energy surged, miserable cries resounded. The 5's heaven-ranked martial techniques tore large swathes of demonic beasts into shreds. The area 3 kilometers in front of the city gates became empty. The people on the city walls obtained this precious time to rest and recuperate. Hu Hai held his huge axe with one hand and smiled. "Hold on for another 2 hours. The experts of our sect should be here by then. Let's kill a few more pieces of trash and charge with me." Behind them was the majestic Spirit Water City. The vast horde of demonic beasts in front had already regained their morale. They surged over like a flood, not knowing what fear was. The 5 each took a direction. They grasped their weapons tightly and did not dodge. Instead, they charged forward. As Xiao Chen looked at the vast army of demonic beasts, he did not feel any fear in his heart. Instead, he felt his blood boil, filled with lofty aspirations. There was no sun in the sky, dark clouds covered the sky. Xiao Chen and the others each guarded a direction. They brandished their weapons and executed exquisite martial techniques, using their strength to fight against the horde of demonic beasts. An incredible scene appeared in the sky. Unexpectedly, the 5 youths managed to hold back the flood-like demonic beasts. Each of them swept away an army of 1,000, undefeatable. When the cultivators on the city walls, who had recovered most of their quintessence, saw this startling scene, their eyes were filled with shock. Incredible! They truly live up to being the true inheritors of the Haotian sect. They are the proud sons of heaven, dragons and phoenixes among men. Indeed, who would dare to stand before so many demonic beasts and use their own strength to prevent a single demonic beast from charging over? Everyone revealed an expression of respect as they praised the 5 youths. No matter where they went, the strong would always be respected and respected. In such a blood-boiling scene, who would not want to be the one charging at the front, enjoying the gazes of worship from others? Strange, who is that white-robed bladesman? He is not a true inheritor. Finally, someone noticed Xiao Chen's appearance. When he saw his appearance, he could not help but exclaim in surprise. Under such circumstances, there was actually someone who was not a true inheritor, yet he dared to charge down with them. That's true. Who is that person? Why is he charging down just like that? After a while, everyone noticed that white figure. Unexpectedly, there was someone who could work together with the 4 true inheritors to resist the charge of thousands of demonic beasts. Xiao Chen remained calm. As he faced the charge of the endless demonic beasts, he brought out everything he knew. He treated this army of demonic beasts as a great test, a test of all his martial techniques. Normally, he would not run into such a fortuitous encounter. The lightning tribulation saber technique, the four-season saber technique, and several other flaws that he had not noticed before were exposed in such an intense situation, benefiting Xiao Chen significantly. Roar! Suddenly, a loud roar came from the crack in the black whirlpool. A huge demonic beast's upper body filled up the crack, trying to squeeze out with much difficulty. A strong aura came from the roar, spreading out from the horizon and causing the army of demonic beasts below to pause. Chapter 690. Hu Hai's expression changed slightly as he exclaimed, "A high-ranked demonic beast. This is bad. A high-ranked demonic beast is as strong as a half-sage. Spirit Water City will not be able to hold on." Hu Hai was not the only one. The expressions of the people on the city walls, who saw that the situation had stabilized, changed as well. Xiao Chen raised his head and frowned slightly. That demonic beast had only revealed half of its body, but it already had such a horrifying aura. What would happen if it fully revealed itself? Just as everyone started to feel fear in their hearts and wanted to retreat, a red beam of light streaked across the sky like a meteor, leaving a long trail of flames behind it. Boom! The red beam of light struck the high-ranked demonic beast's head at lightning speed, and its hill-sized upper body exploded. The high-ranked demonic beast that everyone felt despaired getting blasted to death so easily. No one dared to believe it. However, Hu Hai's face lit up with joy. He smiled and said, "First senior sister is here. There is no need to be afraid now." Xiao Chen looked up and saw a beautiful, purple-clad girl standing on the back of a green bird in the sky above Spirit Water City. The corner of the purple-clothed woman's mouth gently pulled into a spirited smile as she put away the large bow in her hand. "Shui Lingling, we are saved. First senior sister is here." When the Haotian sect disciples on the city walls saw the green bird flying in the sky, they immediately cheered. Shui Lingling was one of the 7 giants of the martial sky continent's human race's younger generation, the strongest expert of the younger generation in the 18 southern provinces, and the inner sect enforcer of the Bushin Palace. All sorts of glory gave this mysterious girl boundless prestige in the Haotian sect. She was worshipped by everyone. The moment she appeared, the morale of the disciples on the city walls soared. They all became excited and leaped off the city walls to launch a counterattack. Xiao Chen casually glanced at her before withdrawing his gaze. Then, he focused on the demonic beasts in front of him. As he swung his saber, he calmly chopped the demonic beasts in front of him in half. With a glance, Xiao Chen discovered that Jun Si seemed to be a little distracted not far away. Her attention was focused on the green bird in the sky, which had a threatening spiritual aura. 4 or 5 demonic beasts with flashing black scales broke through her sword curtain and attacked her vitals. If she was hit, even with her protective primordial spirit, she would inevitably be injured. Furthermore, these magical beasts contained demonic qi within their bodies. Once a wound was infected by the demonic qi, even if it wasn't a serious injury, it would still be difficult to recover. Xiao Chen sent out a chain of saber qi, clearing the demonic beasts in front of him temporarily. Then, he stretched out his hand and sent out 4 strands of saber qi to help Jun Si kill the 4 demonic beasts that found an opening. "Junior brother Xiao Chen, many thanks." Jun Si returned to her senses and thanked Xiao Chen softly. Smiling faintly, Xiao Chen didn't say anything else and continued to focus his attention on the magical beasts on his side. "Wow!" Suddenly, startled cries came from behind. The disciples who had rushed down to prepare for a counterattack all looked at the sky in astonishment. Xiao Chen took some time to look, and his eyelids twitched involuntarily. In the gloomy, horrifying sky, a huge green spirit bird spread its wings and soared in the sky, carrying Shui Lingling with it. Then, it flashed in the sky and directly entered the space crack. How bold! They actually dared to kill their way into the lair of these demonic beasts. No wonder all the cultivators present gaped, not daring to say a word. Half-sage, half-step martial sage, is this the strength of a half-sage? A fervent look flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes as he muttered to himself. After Shui Lingling flew into the spatial tear, the hail-like horde of demonic beasts no longer appeared. All the cultivators advanced together and started their counterattack, clearing the battlefield. The danger was temporarily resolved. Xiao Chen looked at the excited cultivators beside him and shook his head slightly. He stopped attacking and sheathed his lunar shadow saber. Then, he slowly retreated from the crowd. After a few leaps, he landed on the top of the city wall. Then, he closed his eyes and entered deep thought, digesting the comprehensions he gained from the earlier battle. The clamor of the outside world had nothing to do with Xiao Chen. He was completely immersed in the profound world of martial techniques, his mind at peace. Xiao Chen's white robes were stained with blood, and killing qi lingered in the surroundings. However, the closed-eyed Xiao Chen gave off a sense of peace and tranquility, aloof and elegant. After an unknown period of time, Xiao Chen suddenly opened his eyes. A saber hummed in the depths of his eyes. His sharp gaze seemed to be able to pierce through the air. Xiao Chen's aura became even sharper. His delicate face radiated a sharpness. The tyranny unique to a bladesman unconsciously leaked out. Xiao Chen's white robes fluttered loudly, kicking up a strong wind. The air even turned heavier. Xiao Chen casually waved his hand, and a strand of purple saber qi drew a 1-kilometer-long arc in the air, looking like a crescent moon. Even though the saber qi was lengthened by 100 times, its density and might did not decrease at all. It was still as sharp as it was at the start. If anyone else were here, they would be greatly astonished. At this moment, Xiao Chen's saber intent had advanced to 70% comprehended. Furthermore, it was a perfect 70% comprehended saber intent. He could control it as he pleased. Xiao Chen withdrew his hand slightly, and that strand of saber qi that looked like a demonic moon instantly vanished. That tyrannical aura that looked down on everyone returned to his body with a buzz. Xiao Chen returned to his ordinary self, not revealing any pride at all. He said indifferently, 70% comprehended saber intent is also a great perfection saber intent. Saber intent is stronger than sword intent in the first place. If Yunfeiyu were to compete in aura with me now, I would be able to defeat him in an instant. However, Xiao Chen suddenly remembered that he had used the golden savage ox to knock out Hua Yunfei's group in the savage beast forest. He did not know if they could survive this chaos. It would be best if they all died. That way, he would not have to do anything and could save himself a lot of trouble. Junior brother Xiao, why are you back so early? There were already not many demonic beasts in front. Hu Hai and the others had expended a lot of quintessence, so they stopped. Wang Cheng said indifferently, Junior brother Xiao, it might be due to insufficient quintessence. That is understandable. Xiao Chen saw some hostility in Wang Cheng's eyes. He knew that Wang Cheng was now treating him as a competitor. However, Hu Hai remained silent. When he looked at Xiao Chen again, he discovered that Xiao Chen seemed to have changed again. However, when he thought about it carefully, he could not figure out what had changed. Hu Hai increasingly felt that Xiao Chen was unfathomable. However, Hu Hai had always been a broad-minded person. He was very confident in his own strength, so he did not feel that there was anything wrong. Hu Hai smiled casually and said, Xiao Chen, when first senior sister comes out, I'll introduce her to you. Our mission this time will be a success. The group chatted casually for a while, and the dark clouds in the sky slowly scattered. The sky turned increasingly pale. In the end, the sky became clear and bright. The whirlpool-shaped spatial crack slowly shrank and closed up. However, Shui Lingling still did not appear. The group could not help but worry. Xiao! Just as the spatial crack closed up completely, a green light flashed from it. A resonant bird cry resounded everywhere. The green bird carried Shui Lingling out safely. When Xiao Chen saw this scene, he could not help but exclaim in shock, this green bird is really miraculous. Not only is its spiritual energy overwhelming, but it is also very fast. Unexpectedly, it can shrink in an instant. Jun Si smiled and said, that is a rank 9 spirit bird that the sect master bestowed on first senior sister. It is called the profound sun bird. I heard that it has the bloodline of an immortal beast. It has the extreme yang profound sun true flame in its body. It is very incredible in combat. As Jun Si spoke, a light flashed, and a purple-clad girl appeared on the city wall. A palm-sized green bird perched on her shoulder, looking very cute. Greetings, first senior sister. Hu Hai and the others greeted respectfully with cupped fist salutes, not daring to be slow. Shui Lingling was the top true inheritor of the Haotian province. She was like a resplendent pearl, giving off a dazzling light. Her skin was crystalline, and a faint fragrance lingered around her, intoxicating everyone. She stood tall and slender, like a purple lotus flower blooming. Her aura was extraordinary, and her beauty could not be profaned. Her expression was extremely calm, not showing any fluctuations at all. She calmly looked at the four below and asked in a pleasing voice, "Junior brother Hu, have you killed the spirit beast?" Hu Hai had been prepared for this long ago. He smiled casually and handed over the golden ox horn. Shui Lingling closed her eyes, and her lily-white hand, which held the golden ox horn, gave off a faint light. After a while, she opened her eyes and said, "That's right. The baleful energy, spiritual energy, and baleful aura are still there. They were not bought from the auction house. You will be coming with me to the savage battlefield." The four revealed faint smiles on their faces, feeling very excited in their hearts. Hu Hai received the golden ox horn and said, "Many thanks, first senior sister." Then, Hu Hai pointed to Xiao Chen and said, "First senior sister, this is Xiao Chen. He is a peak inner sect disciple comparable to Yun Feiyu. This time, he contributed the most to killing the golden savage ox. Can we bring him to the savage battlefield as well?" Wang Qing seemed to be prepared. After Hu Hai finished speaking, he said without hesitation, "Senior brother Hu, there is no need. Junior brother Xiao is only a medial-grade martial monarch. It would be too dangerous for him to go with us." Jun Si said in shock, "Senior brother Wang, why are you saying that? Didn't we already agree on this?" Chen Zhao's eyes flickered. He wanted to say something to help. However, when he thought about it, he remembered Xiao Chen's performance in this demonic calamity. So, for some reason, he kept his mouth shut. Ignoring the shocked gazes of the others, Wang Qing continued, "The savage battlefield is filled with danger. Even we do not dare to say that we will be able to escape unscathed. I think junior brother Xiao should wait for 3 years. This is for his own good." Shui Lingling acted like she did not hear what Wang Qing said. She looked at Xiao Chen interestedly and said, "So, you are Xiao Chen. It looks like you really used the monarch blood grass and the half-drop of dragon marrow." Aside from Chen Xiao, the others were all shocked when they heard this. They had not expected that Shui Lingling, who was in the distant Bushan Palace, would remember Xiao Chen. Hu Hai asked in a probing manner, "First senior sister, do you know Xiao Chen?" Shui Lingling shook her head and replied, "I do not. However, he is now famous throughout the entire central province." First, Nguyen Muyun and Wang Meng made a bet. In the end, they both lost to him. On the proud Son of Heaven ranking, he remains in the top 1,000. Until now, no one has been able to shake his position. Because of his existence, several elders of the 9 ranks of the great families and noble clans have complained to me. Chapter 691. Now, it was not just Hu Hai and the others. Even Chen Zhao's expression changed as they gazed at Xiao Chen, bewildered. What kind of place was the central province? It was the center of the entire Tianwu domain. It was also where the Bushan Palace was located. Unexpectedly, the originally unremarkable Xiao Chen had already become famous in the central province. Who were Nguyen Muyun and Wang Meng? One was a legendary holy daughter, and the other was one of the 7 giants of young cultivators, comparable to Shui Lingling. These two actually lost to Xiao Chen in a bet. No matter how one thought about it, it was inconceivable. Xiao Chen felt somewhat astonished as well. He had not expected that a simple attempt at the proud son of heaven ranking would cause so much trouble. First senior sister, what is going on with the monarch blood grass and that half-drop of dragon marrow? Can you tell me the details? Not thinking about anything else, Xiaochen directly asked the question that had been troubling him for a long time. Shui Lingling smiled gently and said, back then, Nguyen Muyun and Wang Meng made a bet to see whose disciple could make it higher on the proud son of heaven ranking. In the end, both of their disciples lost to you. Hence, the bet ended up with you. Xiaochen shook his head in disbelief. The monarch blood grass and the half-drop of dragon marrow were very precious. He was not sure about Nguyen Muyun, but Wang Meng had a bad reputation. How could he obediently hand over the half-drop of dragon marrow? Shui Lingling smiled faintly but did not want to explain. She said, Wang Meng is an arrogant and warlike person. No matter what the reason is, you use the half-drop of dragon marrow. It will not be a good thing for you to run into him. It is still fine in the Haotian province. There will not be many opportunities to run into him. However, once you go to the savage battlefield, there will be a high chance of running into him. Furthermore, the savage battlefield is indeed very dangerous. You should think about it carefully before making a decision. Xiaochen answered with certainty, I have to go to the savage battlefield. No matter who or why, they will not be able to stop me. Junior brother Xiaochen, you're not strong enough. We'll have to take care of you if you go there. If you run into Wang Meng, it'll only make things difficult for first senior sister. Why do you have to do this? When Hu Hai heard that, he could not take it anymore and said, Junior brother Wang, how can you say that? Wang Qing said disapprovingly, what did I say? I was speaking the truth. He is just a medial grade martial monarch. Which one of us is not a middle stage superior grade martial monarch? Junior brother Chen, tell me, am I right? Chen Xiaoan nodded lightly, expressing his approval. Jun Si was anxious, but she was also a little confused. She didn't know why Wang Cheng's face changed so quickly. Chen Xiao didn't speak up for Xiaochen either. Xiaochen saw all of this and sneered in his heart. He didn't argue or say a word. He just waited calmly for Shui Lingling's answer. Shui Lingling's bright eyes were deep and boundless. With her intelligence, she had more or less guessed everything in front of her. I understand. Since you've already made up your mind, come with me when the time comes. The elders guarding the city are still dealing with the demonized spirit beasts. They need my help there, so I'll take my leave first. Without much thought, Shui Lingling agreed to Xiao Chen's request. The profound sun bird on her shoulder turned into a beam of dim light and quickly enlarged. Then, it carried Shui Lingling into the distance. Xiao Chen said goodbye to Hu Hai and Jun Si. Then, without even looking at Wang Cheng, he leaped off the city wall and headed back to the Haotian sect. Confused, Jun Si asked, Senior brother Wang, didn't we agree to bring Xiao Chen to the savage battlefield after we complete the mission? Wang Cheng smiled coldly and said, before we came, we did not know that he had a heaven-ranked martial technique. We would never have guessed that the attack he could burst out with was as strong as senior brother Hu's. All the more, we would not have known that his performance against the countless demonic beasts was no weaker than ours. The most important thing is that he is only 21 years old. The youngest of the four of us is already 25 years old. Jun Si finally understood. It turned out that Wang Cheng feared Xiao Chen's rapid growth, which frightened him. Hence, he wanted to suppress Xiao Chen. Short-sighted, Hu Hai said disdainfully. Hu Hai said with disdain. He shook his head and said, what kind of person is first senior sister? How can she not see through your thoughts? Doing this will only make others look down on you. A true genius is never afraid of competition. Wang Cheng still wanted to argue, but after Hu Hai finished speaking, he left alone. Jun Si also felt ashamed for Wang Cheng. She was not willing to say anything more, so she just walked away. 3 days later, Xiaochen returned to the Haotian sect. He took a good bath and swept away all the fatigue from the past few days. Now, he was completely recovered. Xiao Chen was not in a rush to put on all his clothes. He only wore a pair of shorts and took out a palm-sized porcelain bottle from the universe ring. This bottle contained the blood marrow of the golden savage ox's spine. The golden savage ox had the bloodline of an ancient savage beast. Savage beasts were famous for their pure physical strength. With just their vital qi, the ancient sages and martial emperors did not dare to fight against them. One could easily imagine how shocking their vital qi was. The savage beast blood in the golden savage ox was already diluted to a negligible level. However, its blood marrow was still very effective for cultivators who cultivated the physical body. It was worth cities and was not something that ordinary medicinal pills could compare to. A resolute look flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes. He held the porcelain bottle tightly. The savage battlefield was dangerous. Even describing it as a narrow escape would be an understatement. Xiao Chen needed to strengthen himself further. Only by becoming stronger could he shut up people like Wang Cheng and obtain more benefits for himself. Xiao Chen poured the blood marrow into his palm and smeared it evenly on his upper body. His skin immediately felt a burning sensation. After Xiao Chen smeared all the blood marrow on his body, he felt like the blood in his body was burning. His entire body surged, filled with boundless vital qi. I can't take it anymore. I have to quickly digest the energy in the blood marrow. Otherwise, I will burn to death. A strong wind blew as Xiao Chen rushed into the Tao Academy. After he stood still, he immediately circulated his vital qi and executed a fist technique. This fist technique looked very ordinary. It was the same fist technique that Xiao Chen had practiced since he was young in the Xiao clan. There was nothing fancy about it. However, in Xiao Chen's hands, it displayed a different kind of might. Fist winds roared, sounding like thunder, turning something ordinary into something miraculous. Every time Xiao Chen punched, space trembled. The savage beast blood smeared on his body seeped into his blood at an even faster rate. Thunderous sounds rang out continuously in the courtyard. A strong wind blew as Xiao Chen fought to his heart's content. All the blood in his body surged, and he could not help roaring in delight. As the golden savage ox's blood marrow seeped into Xiao Chen's body, a scarlet light appeared on his skin. It looked strangely beautiful under the sunlight. Rumble. As the blood in Xiao Chen's body flowed, surging energy erupted like a roaring river, surging endlessly. The wind from Xiao Chen's fist seemed to be able to vaguely hear the roar of waves and the sound of gushing rivers. It was as if there really was a river falling from the 9 heavens. Break! Suddenly, thousands of rivers gathered in his dantian. Xiao Chen felt like something in his body had exploded. His physical body underwent a rebirth, undergoing a qualitative change. The acupoints on the soles of his feet burst open, opening 3 acupoints each. Xiao Chen quickly circulated his firmament body tempering art. Indeed, he broke through the peak of the late stage of the 6th layer, officially reaching the 7th layer. After Xiao Chen completely absorbed the savage beast blood, his bare skin gained a better texture. His bulging muscles were filled with explosive energy. Bang! 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 Xiao Chen clenched his right fist tightly and punched the air 3 times. A horrifying force exploded in the air, giving off 3 intense howls. When they merged, they formed a tornado. Xiao Chen was filled with joy. He muttered, "Good. My pure strength has increased by 150 tons of force, reaching 1,800,000 tons of force. My total vital qi has also increased explosively. If I burn my vital qi and execute the burning the heavens, its might will be even more horrifying." However, after that, Xiao Chen felt somewhat melancholic. He clenched his right fist and pounded it against his left palm. He said, "Starting from the 7th layer, the firmament body tempering art will focus more on the recovery of the physical body. The spirit herbs required for this will all be astronomical. The 7th level was mainly to train the 5 viscera and 6 bowels. It wasn't to make them stronger, but to give them a stronger recovery ability. For example, if one's internal organs were injured, they would need half an hour to recover. After reaching great perfection of the seventh layer, one would be able to recover in 10 minutes. The internal organs each corresponded to a natural treasure. Tempering the heart required the heart-nourishing flower, tempering the liver and gallbladder required the purple sun grass, and the spleen and stomach required the red lotus fruit. Every spirit herb was rare and hard to find. Even in high-ranked auctions, they would be hard to find. They could only be found in dangerous lands that were rarely visited by humans. Xiao Chen collected his thoughts and said indifferently, "We will cross the bridge when we get there. For now, we should focus on preparing for the savage battlefield. Don't think too much about other things." Dong! 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 Just at this moment, a deep, ancient bell tolled on an extremely desolate peak in the mountains surrounding Haotian City. The sound of the bell came from far away. Everyone in Haotian City could hear it clearly. Compared to the sound of the bell, the words that came with it were even more shocking. The Haotian sect's Xiao Chen is despicable and shameless. Forgetting righteousness at the sight of profit, plotting against his companions. You are a righteous sect's disciple in vain. Today, the Full Moon Pavilion's Qiu Yi is here to challenge you. If you are not a tortoise hiding in its shell, then scram out here. Qiu Yi purposely infused his quintessence into the last three words, allowing them to linger for a long time. Everyone could feel the overwhelming hatred hidden in those words. It is a sect challenge. A disciple of the same sect rang the combat bell. Qiu Yi, a peak inner sect disciple of the Full Moon Pavilion. He is as famous as Yun Feiyu. He is somewhat famous in the 18 southern provinces. How did Xiao Chen offend him? Our Haotian sect's Xiao Chen is not weak either. He might not lose to this Qiu Yi. Right, in terms of martial techniques, he should be pretty good. However, he spent too little time in the Kunlun realm. His accumulations are insufficient. Come, let's go to Giant Sword Peak to take a look. There will be a good show to watch. It has been a few years since someone rang the combat bell. The bell tolled melodiously, lingering in the sky above Haotian City. When all the disciples in the city heard Qiu Yi's mocking words, they stopped what they were doing and looked towards Giant Sword Peak. Then, they all leaped up and flew towards Giant Sword Peak. Now, Xiao Chen was in the limelight in the inner sect. His deeds were widely spread. He came from the Sky Dome realm, which was ranked last. First, he defeated Gui Wu. Then, he defeated the battle realm Sida Gang. Even when the 5 old experts of the inner sect worked together, they still lost to him. Chapter 692. Xiao Chen's opponents were not weaklings. Be it the 5 veteran experts, Gui Wu or Sida Gang, they had all relied on their own strength. Right now, everyone in the Haotian sect knew Xiao Chen. When they heard that an expert from the Full Moon Pavilion came to challenge them, their interest was immediately piqued. Inside the courtyard, Xiao Chen put on his clothes and slowly repeated Qiu Yi's name in his mind. Only then did he remember who the other party was, why they had a conflict, and why the other party said that about him. It's fine if you are here to challenge me. Why is there a need to say so many pompous words? How boring. Xiao Chen shook his head slightly, revealing some disdain on his face. He now understood why he did not remember this person. It would be strange if Xiao Chen remembered such a pompous person who pretended to be righteous. Ripples spread out on the lake in front of him. 2 figures flew over quickly. They were Yu Chenxi and Gong Yangyu, who had heard the news. After a few breaths, the 2 landed before Xiao Chen. Senior brother Xiao Chen, you are in big trouble now, Yu Chenxi said somewhat mischievously as he smiled gently. He did not seem overly nervous. Xiao Chen shrugged his shoulders and said, "It's not really a big deal." Gong Yangyu smiled and said, "Not really." Despicable and shameless, forgetting righteousness at the sight of profit, scheming against his companions. Every one of them is a big label. Xiao Chen smiled helplessly and said, "The 2 of you don't really believe this nonsense, right?" Yu Chenxi burst out laughing and said seriously, "Stop joking. Xiao Chen, How confident are you? Gong Yangyu also said sullenly, the Full Moon Pavilion is located in the 18 southern provinces. In terms of strength and accumulations, they are no weaker than our Haotian province. Since he came to challenge you with such a large force, he must have something to rely on. Otherwise, if he loses, he will lose all face. I am completely confident, Xiao Chen said calmly but confidently. Yu Chenxi and Gong Yangyu exchanged glances and relaxed. They knew that Xiao Chen would never brag. If he said he was 100% confident, then he was 100% confident. Who is Xiao Chen? Just as the three of them were about to leave the city and head to the giant sword peak, a blue-robed old man descended from the sky and hovered in the air as he spoke to the three of them. The old man's sleeves were embroidered with the symbol of an inner court elder of the Haotian sect. His cultivation was profound, only slightly lower than Shui Lingling's. Obviously, his status was not low. Xiao Chen took a step forward and said, I am. The old man in blue sized up Xiao Chen and a look of surprise flashed in his eyes. He discovered that even with his cultivation, he was unable to completely see through Xiao Chen. Withdrawing his gaze, the old man said, when the war bell rings, the person who is called will have to accept the challenge. This is a common rule between the various sects of the Tianwu domain. I hope you will do your best and not tarnish the reputation of my Haotian sect. Definitely. The three followed the old man and flew to the giant sword peak. The giant sword peak was no more than 3 kilometers tall. Compared to the mountain peaks surrounding Haotian city, it did not stand out. However, the peak arena and the war bell at the summit made it stand out from the masses. A major character had used boundless energy to create a vast platform at the top of the giant sword peak. The structure at the summit was very simple. There was a wooden frame erected in the center, and on top of the 100-meter-tall frame was an ancient and majestic battle bell. Not far away was an arena made of cold mountain stone. On the simple platform, there was nothing else other than the fierce wind and the bleak atmosphere of the battle. He's here. Xiao Chen is here. When the various disciples who had arrived early saw the people flying over, their eyes lit up, and they were all startled. Qiu Yi stood below the arena and looked at Xiao Chen in the air. He revealed a cold smile, a look of hatred in his eyes. Around Qiu Yi were the disciples of the various sects who had worked together to kill Lone Wolf. All of them had arrived, their gazes filled with hatred. This was especially so for the 1,000 mystery sects Shuoping. Back then, she had sneak attacked Xiao Chen. In the end, Zhuoping's nose had caved in. Even after she recovered, she had not recovered to her original state. Now that her nose was slightly crooked, her originally beautiful face lost its beauty. Big Brother Qiu, whether we can take revenge this time or not will depend on you, the group of people behind Qiu Yi said to him when they saw that a big fight was about to start. Qiu Yi grasped his scabbard with his right hand and revealed a confident smile. He said, don't worry. I already broke through the bottleneck of medial-grade martial monarch and advanced to superior-grade martial monarch. That brat only bullied us because we did not have quintessence previously. This time, not only will I beat him until he kneels and begs for mercy, but I will also ruin his reputation. He will never be able to raise his head again. Xiao. The blue-clad old man led Xiao Chen and the other two to land firmly on the opposite side of the arena. Then, he floated below the arena to be the referee for this fight. Sabers and swords have no eyes. Full Moon Pavilion's Qiu Yi, once you ring the combat bell, it is equivalent to ringing the life and death contract. Do you understand? Naturally, I understand. Even if I kill this person, the Haotian sect will not pursue this matter. Qiu Yi pushed off the ground and gracefully flew onto the arena. He crossed his arms over his chest, holding his sword. Then, he gave Xiao Chen a sidelong glance and smiled. Indeed, even after so long, you are only a medial-grade martial monarch. Xiao Chen did not argue with Qiu Yi. He gently leaped up and landed on the arena. Xiao Chen, back then, I saw that your cultivation was low and invited you to kill Lone Wolf out of goodwill. However, you despicably conserved your strength. After you killed Lone Wolf, you immediately tore up the agreement, repaying kindness with enmity. You beat up the various sect disciples who exhausted their quintessence and taught them a lesson. Tell me, do you admit to this? Qiu Yi's expression turned sullen as he shouted angrily at Xiao Chen. The group of people who came with Qiu Yi also took the opportunity to echo Qiu Yi's words. They cursed at Xiao Chen, saying all sorts of nasty things. When the Haoyan sect disciples who came to watch the fight heard this, their expressions changed slightly. They could not believe that Xiao Chen was such a person, so they started discussing him in soft voices. This was the effect that Qiu Yi wanted. First, he wanted to make Xiao Chen look like he was being unreasonable. Then, he would use his absolute strength to trample on Xiao Chen, erasing the hatred in Xiao Chen's heart. Xiao Chen, with so many people as witnesses, what else do you have to say? Qiu Yi said coldly as he pointed at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen's white robes fluttered in the wind. His expression remained calm as he replied, "Are you done yet?" Seeing Xiao Chen so calm, not panicking or feeling guilty at all, this was very different from what he expected. Qiu Yi was astonished. He stammered, Are you done? In that case, you can scram now." Xiao Chen's expression turned cold. The ancient sovereign's qi that he had refined to great perfection burst out. It was like a heavenly deity descending, shocking Qiu Yi. Vital qi surged in Xiao Chen's body. Then, he quickly burned half of it. Azure smoke rose from his Tianmen acupoint as he punched the sky. A dragon roar came from the burning azure clouds. A blue dragon clenched its claw into a fist and descended from the sky, carrying the might of heaven. Qiu Yi had just struggled free from Xiao Chen's aura. Before he could draw his sword, the lightning-fast punch smashed him to the ground. After burning his vital qi, Xiao Chen's 1,800,000 kilograms of force reached a horrifying 1 million kilograms of force. Qiu Yi fell face-first to the ground, creating spider-like cracks in the arena. Xiao Chen's figure flashed and landed beside Qiu Yi. Without giving Qiu Yi a chance to get up, he kicked him. Like a sandbag, Qiu Yi tumbled in the air a few times before falling towards the crowd. From the moment Xiao Chen spoke to the moment he punched and kicked Qiu Yi, the entire process took only 2 blinks of an eye. Xiao Chen was as fast as the wind, decisive like thunder. The surrounding people were all stunned, especially the disciples from the various sects who had come with Qiu Yi. Such an ending had completely exceeded their expectations. Just a moment ago, under Qiu Yi's lead, they had been aggressively berating Xiao Chen. However, in merely one breath, Qiu Yi was sent flying. The entire place fell deathly silent. No one said anything. No one had expected Xiao Chen to settle the startling battle that they had expected with one punch. Many people didn't even know what was going on. Everything had happened too quickly. Only some of the inner sect disciples with higher cultivations could tell what had happened. The force that exploded out from Xiao Chen's punch already surpassed that of a regular superior-grade martial monarch. Xiao Chen's sudden attack on aura and Qiu Yi's carelessness made everything logical. When experts exchanged moves, how could one be careless? One mistake could instantly turn the situation around. The cultivators that came with Qiu Yi rushed to treat his injuries, feeding him medicinal pills and infusing quintessence into his body. Xiao Chen, you are too vicious. To think that you attacked so heavily. Not only are you despicable and shameless, but you are also vicious and merciless. The cultivators that came with Qiu Yi were originally prepared to help them vent their anger. Such an outcome was simply too much for them to bear, so they all started cursing Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen's expression remained calm, but he felt disdain in his heart. He could not be bothered to defend himself. Only the weak would be so unreasonable, using words to gain an advantage. If you are not satisfied, you can ring the combat bell at any time. Xiao Chen replied indifferently. Then, he coldly eyed the behavior of this group of people. The various sect disciples who were cursing all shut up, not daring to say anything more. With Qiu Yi's experience, how could they dare to go up and humiliate themselves? A cold light flashed in the eyes of the 1,000 mystery sects Shuoping. As she looked at Xiao Chen, she wished that she could ring the combat bell and hack him into 1,000 pieces. However, when she thought about Qiu Yi's experience, she gritted her teeth in hatred. Her footsteps became as heavy as a mountain, unable to move at all. Xiao Chen frowned slightly and shook his head to himself. He felt that wasting time on this group of useless people who only knew how to talk was too boring. Since no one is ringing the bell, I will take my leave first. Xiao Chen nodded to the blue-robed elder and turned to leave. The savage battlefield would officially open at the end of the month. He did not have time to waste here. Dang! Dang! Just at this moment, the ancient combat bell suddenly rang twice. The sound reverberated throughout the summit, scattering the strong wind that had been blowing for many years. The sound echoed in everyone's ears. Hearing the sound of the combat bell at such a close distance made everyone's blood surge, filling them with a strong fighting spirit. You truly live up to being the king-grade true dragon of the Sky Dome realm. In merely 3 months, you have already grown to such a level. A cold voice came from afar. The crowd on the summit quickly looked in the direction of the voice. They saw 2 figures in the air quickly flying over, accompanied by a chilly wind. The person who spoke casually fiddled with his pale right hand. Strands of ice-cold quintessence shot out and struck the ancient combat bell continuously. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.